I don't want to be right.
What would Socrates say to that? It tickles my fancy.
Okay.
Goosies. I don't have hair.
Oof.
You got Marcos.
That's not
Wait.
Yeah,
That's true. You do got me. Get over here, Marcus. Let me look at you.
They don't want it.
Tobin and Leroy, ready to deploy. Had to hit her with a little journalism, but that was a decoy. Better have about me, boy. Okay. Leroy and Tobin, hold to the show, man. Still on the stars with the show, and till then his half moon open. Sometimes go taste like a snowman. No proof I'm alive by the molding. No proof. Like I always wanted him, I never hated him, I never traded him, and if I did, I never ever traded him. You don't know what is a star? Like another city, the driver's side fly. Wish I could large, so many more. 10 in the more, never a bar. 8, 10 in the more, 2 to the P. Nothing to you, but it's something to me. Handsome as ever, and cute as could be. You can watch on YouTube with view for free. Ay. This one time for the Twitch. This one time for the text. This one time for the phone line. Whole time wondering what they gonna do next.
You know, I just wish you guys would stop the quibbling.
All righty, we're live from the palatial yet not overly ostentatious studios of 104.3 FM WQAM. It's Tobin and Leroy, and they go from one big fella to another with Tobin out today. Zach Gelb here with you, Brittany and JFig back in the shop as well. And Leroy, I had no clue that, and first off, thank you for having me, but I had no clue that you were on the injured list, but you're playing through the pain.
It's really no pain. It's just very uncomfortable, right? It's hard sleeping. It's hard getting around. Believe it or not, one of the hardest things to do is take a shower. Because if you can't, like, I can take the brace off, but you can't bend your arm. And like anything that you do risks popping the tendon. And it's only been a week and a couple of days.
Can you not get your arm wet? Is that the dealio?
No, I can take a shower with it. Like I just got I had a cast for a couple of days, then I had an ace bandage. And then Wednesday I got the ace bandage taken off. So all I have is like the stitches and the steri strips around the stitches, but I can get it wet. I just can't submerge it.
Gotcha. So it's not, I don't know how else to say this. This is what I call this device. I have no clue what it's actually called. It's not like one of those shower condoms that you're wearing on your arm.
No. It's brutal. And like, even without it, I still can't wash my left arm.
Wow.
So like my wife, who likes to take control of everything, says, I got this. So I'm just standing there like a useless human being while my wife washes my left arm and underneath my arm.
Well, you're getting a preview of what 95-year-old Leroy looks like.
I guess.
Just without the diaper.
I guess, but it's like, it's brutal. It's brutal because like when you go to the first visit, they say, hey, you can't drive. And I'm like, if I get pulled over, I'd rather deal with a cop than dealing with telling my wife I need a ride here, here, and here.
Yeah, with the backseat driving and all that.
Oh, my goodness. So, but other than that, I went into the studio, was it Tuesday? Yeah, Tuesday. So
you're playing through the pain. That's what it is. I know you say there's no pain, but
no pain. My mouth works.
Yeah, it's tough for me to believe. And you know I love you, and I've loved you for years. I have your Michigan jersey for
right.
crying out loud. It's tough for me to believe, though, that 4th of July, little beach chair, big strong guy like Leroy Horde just picks up a little beach chair and then boom, your arm goes?
In fairness, when I played football, I had a partial tear. Now, it didn't hurt. It felt like a cramp.
Did you ever get it cleaned up, though, that partial tear?
No, I didn't. So what the doctor said was it may have been a freak accident, but you put the wrong pressure on that spot.
And it just snapped.
Right. But I've been doing I golf. I exercise. I don't do weights. I do everything in the pool. I've been doing all that for years. Nothing. Never even felt any pain or nothing. Right. And then all of a sudden, this little twist, flick of my hand, pop.
You know I love you, but you got to come up with a better story. You can't.
I know,
a guy like you, a proud
what?
guy like you, a strong guy like you, can't be telling somebody that Leroy Horde, big Leroy Horde, had a little bicep injury over picking up a Tommy Bahama chair at the beach. Come on.
But here's what's crazy. This story is more unbelievable than if I said I was curling 50-pound weights.
I mean, yeah, but at least that sounded a little bit more macho manly for you.
No, because that sounds stupid. To me, that sounds stupid.
Here's what you do. You say you were teaching Giannis Antetokounmpo how to deal with those iguanas. You and Tobin were out there. You went to go grab one of the iguanas, and you got in like a little tussle with the iguana, and then boom, it just went.
Hey, let me tell you this. Brittany, you are very familiar with this. If I told an iguana story of me wrestling an iguana, everybody would be like, "Stop lying! What really happened?" I'm not the guy. I'm not a varmint guy.
You're a putty cat in that department, is what you're saying? Yes, no? Like you're afraid of the iguana? Did he freeze up?
It sure seems that way, yes.
Are you back, Leroy?
I'm back.
I was going to say, I'm like, I don't know, maybe you didn't get what I was saying. Like, you're a putty cat in that department. You're like a big baby with the iguanas, is what you're saying.
Yeah, his wife is.
And stuff like that. I really don't. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Like there's no shame in that. I don't go in the ocean. Right?
You don't go in the ocean at all?
No. Why?
You know what? I went to the beach
because none of those critters ever came and knocked on my door. I'm not going to knock on theirs.
I went to a North Carolina beach for 4th of July. And my girlfriend and I, we go in the ocean. The other couple, the guy loves to go in the ocean. The girlfriend does not. He had to like carry her in the ocean. Like, what's the big deal here? It's either you go in the ocean or you don't. If you don't go in the ocean, you sit your ass on the beach and you enjoy yourself and you try not to mess up your arm moving beach chair.
That's it. But that's how I am. Like, I don't, like everybody says I'm soft because I don't like this or this. I don't mess with.
Will you go in a pool?
Yeah, I got a pool.
Oh, okay.
But
so you're afraid of sharks? Is that what it is?
All critters. If something came and nibbled on me, Leroy is out. I don't care what it is.
It's kind of surprising, by the way.
Why?
Like, I'm afraid of.
Let me say this, Gelby. I think it's a white and black thing. No, it is.
How so?
It is. It's because most black people don't like dogs.
Okay.
So it's that kind of thing. Now, I will say this. What kind of messes this up a little bit is my dad and his family are 100% redneck. They're from Hattiesburg, Mississippi. My dad didn't go, but all of his brothers went hunting and eat squirrel and stuff like that. Like they live out in the woods. So it's somewhere in my blood because that's why I hated visiting them. It was terrifying. I hated it.
I once got asked to go to like someone's ranch, and I'm kind of with you. Like I'm petrified of rats living in New York City. They're all over the place. When I go to the Poconos and I see like a little skunk, I don't want to get sprayed by one of those. So I don't like. I love dogs, but I don't love the random animals.
Right.
But anyway, like I was asked once by a client to go to his ranch and his farm. And he said to me, we'll wake up in the morning and we'll kill pigs and have bacon. I go, I love bacon, but I'm not running around with a knife or whatever you're doing killing a pig.
Wait. I picture Gelb thinking he's going to have to put eye black on like Rambo.
Yeah. Spartans, prepare for glory.
With a big knife strapped to with nothing else, and you just gonna walk out the woods and hunt.
Like, look at this body. I love bacon. I'm not killing the pig though. I don't need to know how the bacon gets on my plate.
You know what else I have a problem with? Eating food with the eyes.
Oh yeah?
So I don't like when they put the pig in the box and they open it up and it's just pig.
That scares you?
Yeah. Well, it's not my favorite because I don't know where the baby backs are. It's just meat, right? I don't like fish when they put the whole fish in on
Like the
plate.
Bronzino?
Bronzino, yeah.
Yeah.
Nope. Mm-mm.
I kind of like just when it comes up like chopped up. I don't need the actual fish on the plate.
Right, but so a lot of restaurants, because I've gone to restaurants, Italian restaurants, where people have gotten that, and they bring it out and then they take it all off right then and there. Meanwhile, I'm sitting next to him just staring that thing in the eyes, and I'm like,
Nah, it's not happening.
No.
By the way, Chris Perkins going to join us today at 1:20. We'll get a Dolphins training camp report. We'll do headlines in just a second. I got to ask you a question, though, right out of the gate. So this regime, it's a question mark with John Eric Sullivan and Jeff Hafley coming in. Like, I see people saying, oh, yesterday Malik Willis didn't have a good day in training camp. I don't care. I've been to enough of these training camps. It's first off, it's practice, so you should be taking risks.
Risks, right.
Number two, these training camps are so monotonous. They could be in my backyard. You could not have me any interest in watching these training camps. I've been to enough of them throughout the years, and obviously they're not like the training camps back when you played. Now, if it's a joint practice, that's a little bit different. Those are fun.
Right.
But I'm not going to overreact. I'm not going to be disappointed, right? Like, to me, that's just a bunch of nonsense. But I will ask you something I thought about. Like, they made a big move bringing in Malik Willis, which you can get out of it easily because it's only $45 million guaranteed on a 3-year contract. And then their first draft pick was Caden Proctor. For you to judge this regime, to make you feel like it could be potentially successful, what's a bigger deal for John Eric Sullivan and also Jeff Hafley in year one? Is it to get success out of Malik Willis, or is it to get success out of Caden Proctor?
Caden Proctor, because you hope to have 5-10 years out of him. If Malik doesn't work out, you're only tied into him for a year. You don't look like a failure if you bring in a quarterback for $20 million a year, right? You look like a failure if you draft a offensive lineman and he ends up being a bust. And so from that standpoint, you have to. But let's be clear. I'm not saying that the Dolphins can't have success, but there's no Tampa Bay Rays in football. Everybody's spending the full amount of money, and your hands are tied, you're $100+ million less. So if you're able to compete with all those other teams, you've had a good scheme, or you have picked players great in that you got guys that are on 1-year deals, guys that aren't making big money, that have produced and fit your system quite well. It can happen. But to say that, I think a lot of people just figure the Dolphins aren't going to be any good because of the unknown. Like, we think we like to know, right? But I tell you what, it's proven. Every year, every single year, 4 to 6 new playoff teams are in the mix.
And usually they have young quarterbacks. Like,
and
you take a look.
Right.
CJ Stroud, they were the second pick of the draft. They're in the second round of the playoffs as rookie.
Right.
Jaden Daniels.
Right.
They were the second pick of the draft. Boom, they go to the NFC Championship game. Now, let me be clear. Right. I'm not selling that to Dolphins fans that I have that expectation. Right. But if this team is maybe what they were with Brian Flores in the tank for 2 a year, where they won 5 or 6 games and they ended up being the 5th or 6th pick in the draft, that wouldn't shock me because, I think the Dolphins are, on paper, the worst team in football, but are they that much of a difference right now with the rosters from the Dolphins to the Browns, or the Dolphins to the Jets, or the Dolphins to the Cardinals? You go win 2 games where a team's sleeping on you because they had a big win from the week before. We've seen that happen before in this league. Like a few years ago, the Patriots, they were a terrible team. They had 3 or 4 wins. First week of the season, they beat the Cincinnati Bengals. Like, you could get an upset or 2 on this schedule because
was that
maybe
really
a team's
an upset,
not
though,
taking it.
looking back on it?
Yeah, no, it was.
And here's the other thing, is that New England also had the luxury of playing the easiest schedule in football.
Yeah, I was talking about 2 years ago, just to be
2
clear.
years ago when they were bad. Right. And they won 4 games, and one of them was the Cincinnati Bengals. Right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Like, you have one of those random games where at the end of the year you go, this is one of the worst teams I've ever watched. But remember when they beat Cincinnati in week 1? Like, that could happen for the Dolphins, especially early.
I think another thing is that the team that usually has the biggest letdown, and this is proven, right? is the team that loses the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you look at history with the Dolphins, the Jets, and New England, right? Buffalo is going to be favored by a ton to win the division. But between those three teams, who's going to make that jump? Is New England going to continue? We have no idea. We don't even talk about the Jets. They have talent.
Yeah. If you're telling me who's more likely to make a jump this year, the Jets or the Dolphins, it's
the Jets. Right. Because just based on what they have on paper. Now, people have argued this, and I've gone back and forth with Tobin about this. Okay. He says, but they have Geno Smith. And Geno Smith has proven that he can play.
Yeah, he could take you to the playoffs. He could also take you to the number 1 overall pick of the draft.
Correct. And so I think when you look at a lot of these teams, it's like, do we know how much talent the Raiders have? Absolutely not. You know why? Because they're the Raiders, and they're going to do Raider stuff.
Yeah, but if they play Mendoza early on, which right now Kirk Cousins is viewed as QB1, I'm intrigued by that team more than the Dolphins because you have Brock Bowers, who's a proven stud. You got Ashton Genty, who's trying to be a stud. Right. And then you got Fernando Mendoza, who was the darling of college football last year. Like the Dolphins, you got Brooks, you got Achane. Like we're having a conversation about Willis against Proctor. And I agree with you, by the way. Like Willis, I think most people expect him not to be the guy long-term here or this not to work. And this is the guy that they just throw out there. It's $40 million guaranteed. If it doesn't work, some guys pay more than $40 million a year on a quarterback. Right. So it's not something that you can't recover from. But Proctor, that's your first big draft pick. I'm good with playing him at left guard right away. I think he was the best offensive lineman in this draft. That's what I had him viewed and ranked as. That's a guy that you have to hit. And that's the easiest way for the Dolphins to try to turn this thing around is they got to get these draft picks right. And they ultimately got to get a quarterback, which has been the story since Marino hasn't been with the franchise.
So there's a couple of things that I'll look for this year. And something that has plagued this offense for the last 3 or 4 years. And it's not quarterback. It's not play calling. It's not anything. But if you look at the most successful teams in the NFL, the one thing that you can go back and look at is how many starts when they won the championship did their starting 5 offensive linemen have together? That's a fact. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to be the best. But if you have the same 5 guys and you learn how to work with one another and learn where your weak spots are and figure out that, when you start having to move guys around, it always seems like a struggle at some point with everybody. So if they just have the same 5 guys giving you 14 or 15 games, you're going to look at this team and go, oh, they really picked it up. But the only difference is they've had continuity at one unit. And that's what the Dolphins have missed on in the last couple of years. If you can do that, you think of all the great offensive teams. You think of what? Continuity on the offensive line. Now look at some of these great quarterbacks, what has plagued them. Go to Cincinnati. Go to Kansas City, right? What has happened? Injuries on the offensive line, can't protect your quarterback, and he struggles. And that's, I know it sounds, not exciting.
No, but you don't need a PhD in football to figure out that the game is won in the trenches. It's my uncle, when I was 8 years old, used to tell me, football is won in the trenches. And he's 1,000% right. If you can't block and you can't get to the quarterback and beat the you-know-what out of him, usually you don't have a chance to win in this league. By the way, headlines are brought to you by Doral Kia. In Miami at a Domino's game, you'll always find your Abuelito. And whenever you want a low price, you save with your Pricito. Save now with your Pricito at Doral Kia. The Marlins 3-game winning streak is over as they lost to the Mets last night 4-2. The Marlins will be back in action in New York, and it will be Jansen Junk going up against Freddie Peralta in Queens. From Dolphins training camp yesterday, Chop Robinson has been shining. That's like, as I said about Malik Willis, alrighty, that's good now. In July, I'd rather have it be positive than negative, but you know it and I know it, Leroy. Come game time, are we going to see that same version of Chop Robinson?
The problem is that there's certain positions on the field where it doesn't even matter till you can get hands on you, right? Until the defender or the offensive player can physically put his hands on you. It's not the same without pads, right? So when you look at Chop Robinson, when you look at Kenneth Grant, right? His problem was he didn't know how to use his hands last year. He'd stand straight up and get bulldozed, right? And so instead of playing a read and react defense, I think he's going to play more of an aggressive style where he's just going to shoot gaps. And that plays more into his strength. So when you see him play early in the year, everybody's going to say, wow, he's really turned the corner. He's playing a different defense. That's it. That's it. The hardest thing for wide receivers, offensive linemen, and defensive linemen and corner DBs, the hardest thing for them to get acclimated to is using your hands, because in college, you use your athletic ability. And now you have to use technique. You got to get your hands in there. You got to learn how to be physical. You got to learn how. What do they talk about wide receivers for years? Wait till he gets jammed. There's some guys can't get off the line of scrimmage. You got to run them in motion at 400 miles an hour to get them free, because if they get hands on them, the route's over. So there's a lot of things that these young guys have to learn. The problem is there's so many young guys, they're going to learn on the fly.
Talking about wide receivers, by the way, yesterday, Chris Olave of the Saints did sign a 4-year extension for $132 million with $90 million guaranteed. So the price just keeps on going up and up and up for these wide receivers around
Ohio
the NFL.
State wide receivers probably have $700 million in the league right now.
Yeah, it feels like just this offseason, honestly.
Right.
This weather report is brought to you by Tornado Roofing and Contracting. Beat the storm. Schedule your free roof and window estimate today. Call 954-968-8155. I believe it's a little cloudy today. Some rain could be on the way later this afternoon in South Florida. High of 93 with a low of 79. It is Tobin and Leroy right here on 104.3 FM, WQAM. Zach Gelb sitting in for Tobin. We'll be back in a few minutes, and when we do return, I got 3 college football questions for Mr. Leroy Horde. We'll get to those next. All righty, welcome back in. It is 104.3 FM, WQAM. Tobin and Leroy, Zach Gelb in for Tobin on this wonderful Friday. So, Leroy, I love talking college football with you. So I got some college football questions that I want to ask you in just a second. But first, country star Brad Paisley is coming to the War Memorial Auditorium in Fort Lauderdale this September, and we got a chance for you to win tickets. For more details on how you could win, be listening at 11:40. This is a Live Nation show. What's the best concert, by the way, that you've ever been to? Are you a big music guy?
So I've been to, and this is all backstage stuff.
Oh, okay.
So when they came through Cleveland, we could just walk in. So MC Hammer, Janet Jackson, Madonna. Backstage for Madonna was crazy. But probably some of my most favorite is going to concerts down here with guys that I know from back home. So they had something called Craw Debauchery one time, and Manny Fresh was there. So I took my son because I know Manny Fresh. Then I took my son to see Wynton Marsalis, who, as a kid, I knew him because my grandfather played in a band with his dad.
Oh, really?
So I knew all the family, and then I went to school with a Batiste brother. So when John Batiste or any of the Batiste brothers come down, I try to go see them or at least go eat lunch or something like that with them.
My favorite is Bruce Springsteen. So
yeah,
I've seen Bruce so many times.
So me and Bernie said, hey, called me one time. He said, hey, let's go eat lunch with Paul. I'm like, Paul? He's like, Paul, guy, from Cleveland. I say, all right. So we go eat, and I'm like, oh, Paul, what's up? We take pictures, we say, he goes, hey, what are you guys doing? Right? You want to just get on a tour bus and go? Now, I had no idea all these years that he was the guitarist for Taylor Swift.
Oh, so you were invited to the wedding? Is that what you're telling me?
No. I was invited to the concert when they were down in Miami.
Yeah, the lead guitar player for Avril Lavigne listened to me when I did the national show on New Orleans, and I got like a random DM. So I went to an Avril Lavigne show. I didn't know that.
Wait, hey, bro. Jennifer right now is like, that's her favorite.
Well, I didn't know the controversy I was throwing myself into. There's a controversy that like she died years ago, and that this is like, not Avril Lavigne. I saw Avril Lavigne in person. If it's not her, I would be surprised. But right. I did not know that. But yeah, the lead guitar player, he's I've hung out with him and stuff like that. But I could not believe David Immelman. I could not believe that there was a conspiracy theory. He didn't even tell me about it because I guess like they don't talk about it, but they know that it exists. But one of my friends reached out to me. They go, "Well, does she still actually exist?" So yeah, Avril Lavigne. I was backstage. It was at Jones Beach. And I got up to the VIP section because I got passes from David. And they go, how'd you get these tickets? And I go, from Dave and the band. He goes, well, there's 3 VIP tickets tonight. There's like fake VIP and then real VIP, they were telling me. And I was in the real VIP. And they go, you have 2 out of these 3 tickets. So we just wanted to make sure that you weren't just someone that somehow got them some way, somehow.
Right. So it's really cool. But I got to tell you, every time an artist takes time off, they always come up with some of these random stories, right? Like something happened. Like, no, maybe they just needed a break.
Yeah. Well, going out on stage every night and having to be at 100 in front of people that spend a lot of money and get those tickets. And God knows what people are doing behind the scenes too when you're living that lifestyle. Probably there's definitely a wear and tear on the body. There's no doubt about it. All righty. I got 3 college football questions for you, and they're all pretty recent.
Sure.
I saw Kyle Whittingham, the new coach of Michigan, the other day, who is very close with Urban Meyer going back to their time together at Utah. And Urban is a mentor to Kyle Whittingham. We know Urban Meyer and the Michigan Wolverines program don't see eye to eye, to say the least. Kyle Whittingham said he would be open to having Urban Meyer come to a practice, just clearly not the one before the game between Ohio State and Michigan. Would Leroy Hoard be okay if Kyle Whittingham showed up to one of his practices this summer and had Urban Meyer right next to him?
How do you know he's not a double agent?
Like a little stallion kind of guy?
I don't know. Is he welcome at Ohio State?
Who? Urban?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then can't do it.
So can't do it. So,
can't do it.
So Michigan
just,
legend Leroy Hoard
it's not even
out
how I feel
Urban.
about it. Has nothing to do with how I feel about Urban Meyer. It's a bad look.
I agree.
You see what I'm saying? That's like somebody inviting Jimmy Johnson to a Florida State practice.
Yeah, wouldn't happen.
Like it just I don't care how close of friends he is with. Like it and it may be on the up and up. But how many people lose their mind?
But that was my takeaway from it. The fact that Kyle Whittingham even said it, and I get it, like they've been dear friends for years.
He's not familiar with it.
He's not. But as the coach of Michigan, you need to be familiar about it, number one.
Yes.
But number two, it shows you, and I know Michigan's trying this new era and this new wave away from the Michigan man and the Harbaugh era. It shows you how drastic the Harbaugh era is going to be to the Whittingham era, because there's no way Jim Harbaugh would be inviting anyone from Ohio State
to have
any affiliation back with the program, to watch a practice.
Well, keep in mind, Jim Harbaugh is probably the last tie to Bo Schembechler. Well, he's not the last tie. The last tie is Ward Manuel.
Yeah.
Because I've known Ward since we were 8.
Yeah.
So, and we went to Michigan together.
Mm-hmm.
So we were both coached by Bo. So the last person that I can think of in any capacity at the University of Michigan was Ward Manuel.
Can we get Leroy Hoard to throw his name in the hopper to be the next AD?
No.
Why not?
No.
Imagine being the next AD at Michigan. You could be on the 50-yard line with me. We could be in a luxury box eating like shrimp and caviar.
I think
it'd be awesome.
Here's the problem. As most people know of me, I don't know how to play the game.
Yeah, you're too honest.
The corporate game. I put things out there for what they are and how they and what I need them to be, right? And so playing nice, with a whole lot of different people that I know I would be a phony.
Yeah, those boosters.
That wouldn't fly. So and that's okay. I know my personality. I know how I am. Like I'm just not that guy.
But we could get unlimited Zingermans. Like, think about that. Do you know how exciting that would be? Get unlimited sandwiches.
Dude,
who cares if they're destroying you in the press and if you have to deal with these snobby boosters? We got unlimited sandwiches.
I could still get that stuff.
Yeah, that's true. You're a big deal.
I'm not.
By the way, I don't think I've ever told you this story. When I went to the game a few years ago when they won the year they won the national championship, I was wearing my Leroy Hoard Michigan jersey, and some guy comes up to me. He goes, "Great jersey, man." He's like, "Do you know him?" I go, "Of course." I go, "He's my uncle." The guy was so drunk as a skunk, he never put it together. Like, this guy's white, and he's saying Leroy's his uncle. And he goes, "Oh, that's the coolest thing." He goes, like, "How is he?" I go, "He's the best uncle I've ever had."
Oh, my goodness. Look, that's the thing about college. Tailgates for college start a lot sooner than in the NFL. And there's a house across the street that a club bought.
Yeah, it's wild.
And they gutted it, made it into a bar and a barbecue spot, and all the members go and eat and drink there, and some of them never even go to the game.
All righty, real quickly, let me just get 2 more questions, and then we're going to take a break.
Sure.
So I was talking to John Fante yesterday from NBC Sports, and he does a great job. And he said he thinks Curt Cignetti could be the next Nick Saban. And I said, well, like in the NIL era, I don't think there's going to be many dynasties. And also Cignetti 64-65. I said, but let me take it one step further with you, if we'll disagree on that. I said, do you believe Indiana football will win another national championship? And he said, without a doubt, they will at least win one more national championship. Do you think Cignetti at Indiana, who just won the title, will win another natty?
At some point, no matter how tough and how much of a game plan you can put in, you need players. And I don't know, and here's what I would always say about certain teams. I don't know if they're in a position for big name recruits and big name players to want to go to Indiana if they have the resources. Like, I can understand if you're a quarterback and you're coming out of college, you'll kick the tires on it, right? But I don't know if they have the resources of an Alabama, or even if Alabama has a down year, they're still going to get top-notch players.
Yeah, it helps so with the Cuban money that they have right now.
Right.
Mark Cuban.
But again, that's all fine and great. But if I get offered $3 million to go play college football, or $5 million, or whatever it may be, right? And I have a chance to choose, even though Indiana's won the national championship, right? And I can get $5 million to go to Ohio State or $5 million to go to Indiana. It becomes a point where your resources aren't gonna match, the overall success of these other universities. Mark Cuban would have to, in order to get kids to go to Indiana, Mark Cuban would have to still overpay. That's where Indiana is.
Yeah, and they have a chance to win a national championship again this year. They have Hoover coming over. Their left tackle is a top 10 player in college football, not at the quarterback position. I was reading an On3 article yesterday, the top 10 non-quarterbacks in college football. They had a defensive tackle, they had an offensive tackle. So 2 guys from Indiana on that list. And the schedule's easy this year. So right. I think they could get back to the playoff. And if you're in the dance, you got a chance to go home with the prom queen. All righty, we got to take a break. I'll give you the last question on the other side. It has to do with the Canes. Zach Gelb and Leroy Horde here with you on 104.3 FM WQAM. All righty, welcome back in. It is Tobin and Leroy. Zach Gelb in for Tobin on this Friday. Chris Perkins going to join us coming up at 1:20. We will get an update from Dolphins training camp. The Dolphins are in training camp. The Canes start next week. Marlins are in action. The Heat and Panthers offseason news too. We've got it all. You could also listen to WQAM on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, and TuneIn apps. Download it today and make Tobin and Leroy your favorite show. I guess at some point during this show, I got to say Goosies and then just go Leroy, right? I got to play the role of Tobin today.
Something good has to happen.
Okay.
And the Marlins lost, and there's really nothing, there's really nothing going on other than Tyler Hero doing Tyler Hero stuff.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you this, though. Some people say I'm the good luck charm of this station. I've been filling in a lot this summer. The Heat get Giannis. The Panthers get another Kachuk. I'm bringing the good vibes here to 104.3 FM WQAM. Pat Riley should be calling me and thanking me. Vinny Viola should be calling and thanking me with the Panthers and the Miami Heat. I think this is the summer of Gelb here on 104.3 FM WQAM.
I got to tell you, it has been like, I don't know how they're doing it with the Panthers. I think one of the things that helps this, right? And this is what I hate. This is one of the things I hate about sports, right? Is that there are players on that team that could leave and get maxed out, right? They take less money. If they suck or they struggle, the fans will say, "Give rid of them. Let's get somebody else."
Sure.
Like I think we should, in general, over the last couple of years, just appreciate that all these guys gave up money. And everybody says, "Oh, but they still make a lot." I don't care. You giving up money in a career that is only a small percentage of your life, and making that sacrifice to be together, right?
No state income taxes also help too. That's the other line.
Which is one of the crazy things is that I don't know what happened between Bob and the Florida Panthers, but he ended up making less money.
Yeah, I think what it ended up there is they knew he had to take he knew he had to take a discount. Similarly to like how LeBron knew if he wanted to stay in LA, he had to take a discount. And with what he's done for the organization, he didn't want to take the discount here, so he ended up going elsewhere. And they bring in players that aren't, Bobrovsky, obviously, but they bring in guys that are lesser quality, but they're saying, okay, the Panthers could be the Avalanche of a few years ago where the team is so loaded, just get average, goalie play and you'll be fine. Kind of like the Seahawks this year, where the team was so good, get average quarterback play.
You think Sam Darnold was average?
In the Super Bowl, he wasn't good.
Well, but we do that with Tom Brady's first Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like they won in spite of him, right? It happens. But like I would say, and here's what happens in that situation. You're gonna have to look at some point in the year and say, our goalie saved our butt.
Yeah.
And it's gonna have to happen. And so when they talk about excellent goalie play, they're not necessarily talking about when everything's going great. They're talking about those moments where we can mention and just spit off times where Bob had a great save or Bob did this or Bob. That's those moments that you don't realize at the end of the year were important.
Sure. But what I will say is the Hurricanes who won the Stanley Cup this year, they had a goaltender change in the Stanley Cup final.
Right.
And I'll play it the other way. My New York Rangers had Henrik Lundqvist for all these years, and Henrik Lundqvist was the best goaltender in the league. And how many Stanley Cups did they win? Right. 0. So, yes, the goaltender is so important. We know that. But with the all-star team that they have in front of them on the ice with the Panthers, they are the best organization right now in hockey.
Right.
And to your point, it's championship or bust in a sport that's the toughest trophy to win. So, yeah, a year where they don't make the playoffs or a year where they don't win the Stanley Cup, it's all doom and gloom. But that's the bar and that's where it should be because this is an organization that is on the cusp of being a dynasty because they're the most dominant team in the sport and they've already won those 2 Stanley Cup championships.
Right. Absolutely. And like you're looking at these guys being together for at least another 2-3 years, if they should happen to like win 2 more, this will be the greatest stretch of South Florida sports that I think anybody that's, born, you could say you were born in 72.
Well, the Canes could win a championship this year. The Panthers could win a championship
The
this year.
Canes winning the championship, that would be 6 from the time, and I use 72.
Yeah.
Right?
But it's been a while.
It's been a while. Right.
But I'm saying going into this season, the Panthers could win a cup. The Canes could win a championship. The Heat are going to be improved where there's excitement with Giannis.
Right.
Like, we'll see what the Marlins do the second half of the season with what has happened so far in July. It's not the most promising from where it looked like in June. But, yeah, there's no doubt about it. There's excitement because you have the Heat, you have the Canes, and you have the Panthers all in the mix. And if the Dolphins could ever figure out their quarterback situation and building a team, then it would really get crazy. All righty, I know we got to take a break. We'll do the last college football question that I had for you on the other side. It has to do with the Canes. I already squeezed one in about Cignetti. I already squeezed one in about Kyle Whittingham. It is Leroy Gelb for Tobin today on this Friday. Hour number 1 in the books. We're coming on back with hour number 2 next, and we'll have to look back at something that happened, a beef once between Tobin and myself about something with this very fine radio program that had to do with the second hour. We'll maybe rehash that on the other side. Alrighty, welcome back in. It is Tobin and Leroy. Zach Gelb in for Brendan Tobin today on this Friday. Chris Perkins going to join us coming up at 1:20. You know, Leroy, I was actually just looking at this. The first time I was ever on WQAM was actually January of 2010. I was visiting my grandmother. Yeah, you were shocked by that. I was visiting my grandmother, and I was friendly with Sid Rosenberg since my dad worked in New York at WFAN, and Sid used to work at WFAN. And Sid brought me in, and they put myself on the air.
With his sister.
Who, Sid?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Uh-huh.
Where did you go to high school?
No, college.
Oh, college, Michigan.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I was going to say.
No.
I'm like, I didn't think the Rosenbergs and the Hordes really would be growing up.
No. We from area. We're not from the same neck of the woods.
Well, you never know. You're a black guy that's a redneck, you were telling me earlier.
No, but I grew up in the hood in New Orleans. I would have known if there was a Rosenberg in the hood.
Well, you may have saw Sid on the side of the road somewhere in New Orleans.
Yeah.
But anyway, Sid had me on, and I remember going to the old studio, and they had like a list of words on the radio that Sid couldn't say that wouldn't have been FCC violations, but they didn't want him to say those words anywhere on the air. So that was my first time on QAM. And then I've listened throughout the years. Like I remember the old website with those like funky photos that they would do. Oh, they would do like Smoke Show of the Day, but then they would have the graphics of all the guys that were on the air on like a TV, like an old school TV. And I always remember seeing that online. And then Hockman and Crowder used to put me on for all those years. And I became somewhat close with you, just going back and forth in the business. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because it's the second hour of this show, which used to be called Hour Tua. And I remember driving around in Boca Raton 3 or 4 years ago, and I'm listening to you and Tobin. And I didn't really know Tobin at the time. I just knew you. Mm-hmm. And I go, what is this song that you guys play at the top of the hour? Yeah. Whoever wrote it or is singing it it's a hellacious singer. And I didn't know that it was Tobin.
Yeah.
And you get on the air and you're like, oh, I'm talking to my guy, Zach Gelb, and he says your song stinks. And Tobin got all annoyed, and then I had to call in and go to war with Tobin. And Tobin got mad not only at me, but he got mad at you because you kind of took my side in the entire thing.
Hey, which is the gist of our relationship.
Yeah.
He wants just free reign of silly sauce and whatever. And sometimes as a group, between me, Brittany, Vlad, Jennifer, Marcos, we have to like rein him in just a little. It's like because
you guys are like his ADD medication, pretty much.
Yes.
But
and he'll find ways around it. Oh, you guys are no fun. Hey, just having a little fun. But it's
this is the ironic part because 3-4 years ago. I would be on with Hockman and Crowder, and I told him, Tua is not the guy that you think he is. And Hawk and I would just go at it. So I was someone that was not a part of the Tuanon, as they do say. With that being said, though, it is ironic when I'm filling in for Tobin today on this July 31st, all these years later, and Tua isn't here. I kind of miss hour number 2. I was looking forward to the song and then realized it wasn't going to happen.
You just made a friend because if you see Brittany shaking her head, she has been out.
So I was basically the voice for the voiceless during that. When I went after Tobin for the song, and everyone else just had to go along with it because you guys were on his radio show.
So and I have a different approach to this, more kind of like you do with the goalie conversation. I don't think everybody thinks you need Peyton Manning or Tom Brady to win a Super Bowl. And if you look at the Super Bowls that these guys have won, some of them they weren't very good in. Peyton Manning could not throw the ball in his last Super Bowl. If it were anybody else, we would have been saying, what is this playing quarterback?
Yeah, got carried to a championship, they would have said.
And that's fine, right? Everybody thinks you need Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen. You need one of those quarterbacks when, in fact, you need what we were talking about earlier. You need a competent quarterback who's going to get you out of a couple of pinches a couple of times a year.
Mm-hmm.
who's gonna be able to run the offense, stay poised, and make plays here and there. You don't need a Hall of Famer. And I have more proof to justify what I'm saying than you do, besides the 1 or 2 guys that have won several.
Yeah, the only thing is, in the last 25 years, though, yeah, there has been a Brad Johnson, there has been a Joe Flacco, there has been a Nick Foles, but you see a lot more Tom
Jeff
Brady's.
Hostetler.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers.
Well, those
Drew
are the
Brees.
guys. Well, no, Aaron Rodgers only has 1. Stop.
But he won one.
Okay, but okay, so did all those other guys we just mentioned. So that doesn't mean that those guys are equal to Aaron Rodgers, even though they all have the same amount of Super Bowls, and that's my point.
But the multiple
would
Super Bowl championship guys are Hall of Famers.
Right, and then and there's only a handful of them. Right? We're making it sound like you got to have one of the. Well, yeah, everybody wants a Tom Brady or a Patrick Mahomes. They're anomalies in this equation. Right? They are. And so, like, my defense of Tua was not that he was one of those guys. I just figured what his skill set was. You could win with him because he was an accurate passer that threw the ball well enough to get the ball to your playmakers and have them make plays.
Yeah, but the problem here?
He was hurt.
Hurt
all
yes.
the time.
Hurt, yes. And also, when it got a little cold, you had to go on the road in a playoff game in Kansas City.
If I had one problem with Tua, one problem, and this doesn't go away unless I see it, is that the one thing that all those quarterbacks we talk about, and we could go through the list of them.
Yeah.
Right? The one thing that they have is mental toughness.
1,000%.
They're not going to let a little bit of criticism, they're not going to let a little bit of adversity get them up in their feelings. That's what happened to Tua.
And I understand that you see that big debate. Was it Flores or was it Tua? Who was at more fault? And most people sided with Tua. But look at the end. And I was not a fan of Mike McDaniel. Never was. I'm a fan of him as an OC, not a head coach.
Right.
But at the end, even Tua started going back and forth with Mike McDaniel. There was no accountability from Tua on his shortcomings.
See, and here's the deal. There's certain quarterbacks that go into those situations and they want to earn the respect, so they don't put themselves out there saying the things that separates them from the other guys. Mm-hmm. Anytime you have a star player or a quarterback, I give you a perfect example right now in baseball. Bryce Harper. Buddy, you're batting 150. You're saying we need help? You're the help. We're paying you. Bat more than 150. Right? He's out there saying we need more talent. We need some people to come help. No, you're the guy. So from that standpoint, I really do believe that there's some people that are just not aware. And so I think Tua was trying to.
He was the definition of tone deaf, Tua.
Right.
Yeah.
But a lot more of it had to do with his mentality of going about playing that position, because some of the things that he said that made him tone deaf, a lot of guys wouldn't even go there. A lot of guys who were mentally tough wouldn't even go there. Like if you play quarterback in the NFL and you can't deal with criticism,
you're screwed.
Because guess what? I give you a perfect example of the opposite of that.
Okay.
Dak Prescott.
Yeah. Look at Dak Prescott.
He's going to be a Hall of Famer, and they have pounded him year after year after year, knowing that it ain't got nothing to do with him. It's all the machinations going around with their organization.
And it's been an internal sabotage, too, because the way that they treated him with that contract, you see what's going on with Baker Mayfield right now, and I understand it. Dak's like, all right, whatever. This is what happens in Dallas. I'm going to show up and be a damn good quarterback.
Right. So think about the two situations, the two organizations. It's harder to play in Dallas than it is to play in Miami.
Without question.
And so from that standpoint, when you see Dak Prescott never won a Super Bowl.
No.
Dak Prescott has had an incredible career if you look at the numbers. Yet he gets pounded like, oh, he'll never win. Can you win with Dak Prescott? Like, this is all the stuff going on. Guess what? He's handled it to the point where everybody's like, wow, does he really believe these things? Yes, you got to play the role.
By the way, going back to Peyton Manning, what do you think? How many games over 500 in his postseason career do you think he was?
He won 2 Super Bowls. I would say 1.
Yep.
Right.
14 and 13.
Because keep in mind, here's what people don't understand. When you make the playoffs every single year, right? Until you win the Super Bowl, you're 0 for.
Yeah.
Or 1 for. You got a losing record.
And he was a brutal postseason quarterback to begin his career.
Right.
Like,
we
not just
heard
bad,
about Peyton
brutal.
Manning too, remember, early on? Now, keep in mind, we don't credit the second place guy for playing against the Tom Brady. We didn't go about it that way.
Yeah.
We didn't say, like, when Utah played Jordan, we didn't say Karl Malone is not good enough to get over the hump.
You said he just got Jordaned.
Right. But we didn't do that with Peyton Manning. There's certain guys we don't do that with Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
And he's got to go up against Patrick Mahomes.
Well, Jackson's problem, and this is the undercover part about it, not only does he have a Kansas City Chief problem, he also got a Buffalo Bills problem because they played him twice in the postseason and lost.
Right. So we look at certain guys and say they can't win. We don't look at the circumstance in which they can't win.
Yeah. By the way, headlines are brought to you by Doral Kia. In Miami at your Domino's game, you'll always find your Abuelito. And whenever you want a low price, you save with your Pricito. Save now with your Pricito at Doral Kia. Marlins' 3-game winning streak is over. They lost to the Mets last night. The Marlins will be back in action in Queens later this evening. You can hear the game right here on WQAM. It will be Jansen Junk going up against Freddie Peralta. Chop Robinson has been shining to start training camp. The offense, not so much. There's been a bunch of pre-snap penalties. And as I said earlier, Chris Olave signed a 4-year extension with the Saints for $132 million with $90 million guaranteed. And also, you saw yesterday Deebo Samuel make his triumphant return to the San Francisco 49ers. That is going to be on a 1-year contract worth up to $7 million. This weather report is brought to you by Tornado Roofing and Contracting. Hurricane season is here. Make sure your roof and windows are ready. Call 954-968-8155 for a free estimate. And if you're looking to go to the beach today in South Florida, and hopefully you don't suffer an injury like Leroy Horde did, today may not be the best day. There is a heat advisory out there, but it is cloudy. And there's supposed to be a lot of rain, some thunderstorms coming up at about 5 p.m. Right now, though, it's a high of 94 and a low of 79. I've been teasing. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I tell you a little secret about camp?
Yeah.
That a lot of people don't realize. When there's no game planning, the defense always wins.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Very vanilla offense. The defense always wins. Why do we make a big deal about this?
Well, if the defense can't win up against this offense, then it's going to be a bad defense.
Like, but I'm just trying to understand when you game plan, you avoid situations that you deal with every day in camp. But yet these guys, Perk is going to get on. Oh, the defense is dominating. Every camp that I've ever been in for the first week and a half, the defense dominates.
Yeah, but here's the thing. If Leroy Horde was a defensive end, he'd be like, yeah, look at me. The defense is dominating. Since you're a running back, you go, I got to make excuses. Right. No, well, it's not, but that's the reality of it. No, you're not wrong.
Right?
It's because you're trying things out on offense.
And
it's
then
like
you run the same
sometimes,
plays.
Yeah, sometimes, right, it's going to not work. And is it the defense being really good, or is it they just tried something that, the players just simply couldn't execute? We'll take a break here. Tobin and Leroy, Zach Gelb in for Tobin. We'll be back with finally that college football question I have about the Miami Hurricanes, which you've been teasing for the last 2 segments. I promise we'll get to it when we return in 5 minutes. All righty, welcome back in. It is Tobin and Leroy. Zach Gelb in for Tobin. Country star Brad Paisley is coming to the War Memorial Auditorium in Fort Lauderdale. This September, we got a chance for you to win tickets, and that will happen coming up today in about 15 minutes from now at 11:40. This is a Live Nation show. So, Leroy, I was looking at the national championship odds yesterday, and Miami had the 6th or 7th highest odds. And I think that's low. Like, I look at the Canes this year, I think they have a better quarterback than last year with Darian Menson now taking over for Carson Beck. You have still Fletcher back. You have the second best player in the sport that's not a quarterback in Malachi Toney, because Jeremiah Smith is one.
Yeah.
And then you bring over Cooper Barkay from Duke, who already has a connection with Mensa, who had over 1,000 yards. I get it. They lose Ruben Bain on the defensive side of the ball. They lose Mawanoa. But Mario Cristobal is a phenomenal coach, specifically inside the trenches. Like, I go into this season saying whenever the preseason poll drops, I think Miami should be the second-ranked team in the country.
They also lose both pass rushers.
Yeah, in Mesidor, yeah.
In Mesidor. Here's what I think. I think that the only thing that Miami is getting caught up in, and this is why coaches just dismiss it, is teams that we like, right? Like, the odds are based on who's going to bet, right? If you gave Miami the best odds, then everybody would bet all the other teams. So that's why the odds are what they are.
I don't know.
Even though I don't think Alabama has a real chance with that quarterback. Ohio State is going to be up there. What's Clemson going to be? Right? As much as I've grown up a fan of LSU, they're an SEC school with a lot of coverage and a lot of fans, but they haven't quite been there. Right? And so I don't I can't argue with it. What is Georgia?
I think Georgia's a really good team.
A really good team, but there's nobody on that team that I can think of that, is going to separate them from everybody else in the country. They're going to be in the hunt because they're good at a lot of different places, but not great at one.
Yeah, I think Georgia's kind of the Kansas City Chiefs. And I get it, the comparison may not reign true this year because Kansas City just missed the playoffs, but where we were before they missed the playoffs, everyone keeps on telling me about Georgia. They're vulnerable. They're vulnerable. They're vulnerable. Yeah, they haven't won a college football playoff game in 3 years, but last time I checked, every year they're vulnerable. They still find the way to win the big bad SEC.
Right, which has more to do with what we think of the big bad SEC. How about that?
Yeah,
right?
Well, it's a game of tug of war. And it's the Big Ten and the SEC playing a game, and that's for the top dog. And then for third and fourth place, it's the ACC and it's the Big 12. And the ACC has been winning that game of tug of war recently, and the Big Ten has been winning that game of tug of war recently. Like the only two schools that do not play in the Big Ten or the SEC that have a shot to win the national championship this year are Notre Dame and Miami. Like, I don't care who comes out of the Big 12, BYU, Texas Tech. We saw last year with Texas Tech in the playoff. They got in and they had an offer, on the stat sheet. So that conference right now, like, I don't love the ACC. I think that's another reason why people should love Miami going into this year. Even though they didn't win the conference last year, they should win the conference this year. So there's a little motivation there. But pound for pound talent-wise, outside of Oregon, I don't think there's a more talented team in college football than the Miami Hurricanes. And when I look at the odds to win the national championship this year, Ohio State's 1 at plus 550. You have Notre Dame 2 at plus 650. Oregon 3 at plus 750. Texas at plus 800. Georgia at plus 850. Indiana sitting there at plus 950. And then you have the Canes in 7th at plus 1100. Like, to me, Miami on paper right now is better than Indiana, better than Georgia, better than Texas, better than Notre Dame, and better than Ohio State. The only team that and I think Miami has a better offense than Oregon, but the only team that I look at and say, yeah, team-wise, all around, because of how good Oregon's defense should be, I would say that the Ducks are the only team right now on paper that I think are slightly better than Miami.
Which is crazy because they've had some success year after year after year, but once they get to the playoffs, it's been dud.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's the thing. We talk about how you did earlier with Lamar and Josh Allen and these quarterbacks that show up and they play really well in the regular season. Then come postseason time, they don't do well. Dan Lanning for the last 4 or 5 years, first time ever being a head coach, transitioning Oregon from the Pac-12 to the Big Ten. First year they win the Big Ten championship. He's done everything he can at Oregon besides win the Natty. So now you go into this season saying, can Dan Lanning win the big game? Can Dan Lanning win a national championship? Because when he first got to Oregon, they lost to DeBoer twice the year Washington did go to the national championship game. Then
they actually made it to the semifinals that year, didn't they? Washington.
Yes. Well, no, Washington made it to the championship game.
So the championship game is against Michigan.
Yes.
I was trying to figure out when they played.
So they played in the Pac-12 championship game that got Washington into the playoff, and they played in the regular season. They lost both of them.
Right.
Then you see a little while after that, first year in the Big Ten, they win the conference championship. They beat Penn State, but then they get blown out by Ohio State. Last year, they make it to the Final Four. They lose to Indiana twice. So they kept on moving the ball down the field under Dan Lanning, and they don't lose many games. The only thing left to accomplish now is to get to that natty and to win it. And this year with the team that they have, with Evan Stewart, with DeCorian Moore, with Dante Moore, the defense, and some of the players that they brought in, there's no reason to say, there's no excuses left for Dan Lanning. It's go time now, where this is the first year where I go, if he doesn't win the national championship, that's where I think you can legitimately criticize him.
It's crazy because when you think of Oregon, you've always thought about their high-powered offense scoring a bunch of points, and they're actually driven more by their defense now.
Yeah.
And I think that has a lot to do with Mario, the guys that he brought in before he left, and how he set it up, because he was a trenches guy at an Oregon school that was known for their high-flying and quick strike offense.
Yeah, and also I think it's the defensive mind of Dan Lanning too. And they have so much money now with that Phil Knight money that they're getting to shop at stores that maybe Oregon of 15, 20 years ago wasn't able to shop at. And in addition to that, you look at Ohio State, who, as much as it pains us both to say this, they've been one of the most successful college football programs of the last 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Not many schools could say they've defeated Ohio State. Oregon under two different coaches. Mario one year did go to the shoe and beat them. And then last year you saw Miami in the college football game pick off Ohio State en route to their national championship appearance, where they ultimately did lose to Indiana. So there has been sustained success there at Oregon. And they're one of those programs that the one thing that's missing in that trophy case is a national championship. So I know a lot of people, they're tuning in today, and they're like, I see it in the YouTube comments. They're like, oh, Gelb's got to get that Michigan hat off. He's in hurricane country. I like Miami. It's all about the U. I go back to the 7th Floor Crew in that song that I used to play all the time when I was too young to probably listen to it. And I love Mario Cristobal. I've been a huge fan of his, and college football is 1,000% better when the U is back. And it's nice to see the U back. And now you better go win a championship this year, because anything short of winning a national championship this year for Miami is a failure.
I think Mario's in a good place, because here's why. If there were any coach before that got to this point, right, we would look at it totally different. But Mario has built something that's sustainable.
Oh, absolutely.
And so you're going to compete for a national championship year after year after year. And what I tell people all the time, getting to the playoffs and not winning is not a failure. So many things have to go your way at a certain point in time during the season. And I don't think there's much that separates when you get to the Final Four or the Final 8. There's not a lot of separation from these teams. It's just whether you can execute on that day, right? Mario has built a team that, regardless of what you think of them, as far as their talent, you don't have to worry about them playing a certain way.
And they showed last year, even though they didn't win the national championship, they're capable of winning big games. Like Oklahoma for years would dominate the Big 12. They would get to the college football playoff under Lincoln Riley, and they would do nothing. So last year, yes, they didn't win it, but the fact that they got to the championship game shows that they could dominate this ACC where Clemson's down, and it doesn't look like they're making this great comeback to being a national championship contender program again. Louisville's solid under Braun, but I don't think they're a national championship contender. The one program I think you keep an eye on for the president in future years is SMU, because Rhett Lashley is staying, and he's done a really good job with the Mustangs.
Yeah, which is crazy, because I don't know if you're old enough.
The Pony Express?
Yes. Yes.
I'm a student of the game, Leroy.
I also, how about this? The year I got drafted, you know who else was really good? Houston.
Oh, yeah.
With
And
Lamar Lathan, and
Yeah.
I think they had 3 guys go in the first round.
And they got a good team this year.
And they had the Heisman Trophy winner
in War
that year.
At where? Excuse me.
At Houston. Who was it? Ware.
Yeah, Andre Ware. Yeah,
Andre Ware. So, yeah. I think college. Miami has done 2 things that is going to be pretty amazing. Everybody's going to talk about. One, how they play football is what college is, right? It's not always about the talent that you have. And Indiana did a good job of this too. But it's how well you play together. It's the effort in which you give, because everybody doesn't have a whole team of first rounders. And so no matter how much money you spend, all your players aren't going to be first rounders. So you have to find a way to get them all to play a certain way. And Indiana did a hell of a job at it last year. Miami did a hell of a job of it. Hence, that's why they were the 2 teams there.
Well, look at this new era of college football. In the last 3 years, Michigan didn't have the most talent. They were the best together team. Ohio State did have the most talent, and talent did prevail. But last year, Indiana didn't have the most talent, and they ended up winning a championship. And you look at the Big Ten style of play, which is physical, run the football, and play great defense. It's played a big role in winning 2 out of the last 3 national championships, because Michigan and Indiana are a lot more similar than what did happen with Ohio State. The Dolphins,
and if you look at Miami, that's how Miami plays.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Yeah, so if football has as much as people want to change it, it still boils down to the same basic fact: who controls the line of scrimmage usually wins the game.
The Dolphins are in training camp. The Canes start next week. The Marlins are in action. The Heat and Panthers offseason news too. We've got it all, and you could also listen to WQAM on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, and TuneIn apps. Download it today and make Tobin and Leroy your favorite show. We're coming on back. When we do return, we got to give away those tickets, and also we're going to do a staple of the show. I think it's time for a little tickle your fancy, Leroy. We'll get to that heading into the weekend when we come on back. All righty, welcome back in. It is Tobin and Leroy. Zach Gelb for Tobes right now on this Friday. Chris Perkins going to join us coming up at 1:20. We'll do a little Dolphins training camp with him. Country star Brad Paisley is coming to the War Memorial Auditorium in Fort Lauderdale this September, and we've got a chance for you to win tickets right now. Be caller number 4, and you could win tickets to the concert. This is a Live Nation show. All righty, I've heard about this segment, Tickle My Fancy, Leroy, and it's been explained to me. There's no imaging, there's no music. I just run through the games and I see if it tickles your fancy, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And let's just say you're picking the games, you're probably going to be way off.
Okay. I didn't know it was a competition in terms I had to figure out what you like.
No, but Tobin a lot of times pick what he like. And then ask if it tickles my fancy.
Well, I did a little. Yeah, go ahead, Brittany. Sorry.
Leroy also doesn't know how to play the game, and that's the fun of it.
Oh, really? Well, I don't even know how to
really
play
understand the concept. Is that he is just supposed to answer? You give him the weekend slate, and he's supposed to say whether he's going to watch it or not. But if he's interested in it. Hence, does it tickle his fancy? But he always just comes up with all the reasons why he can't watch it. And why would Tobin even ask him why he would watch something that he knows he would never watch?
Yeah, I think I'm less sensitive than Tobin. So I won't be offended, Leroy, if you hate the games that I give you. But I will suck up to you right away. Because I know one thing about you, because you're an old guy. You love golf. So are you watching the Rocket Classic this weekend in Detroit? Does that tickle your fancy?
Actually, no. I've been watching. You know what I've been watching?
What, the LPGA?
The Open Championship, the women's LPGA. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the early morning thing, right? So I get up, as soon as you get up, even before when I was able to golf, even when I would golf, I golf at 7 a.m. on the weekends. And I would get up to get ready and stretch and stuff like that, put it on the TV, Open Championship, men's and women's, is right in the prime time when I'm getting ready.
I was going to do the LPGA, but then I looked at the golfers and I'm like, I don't know any of them. So if Leroy goes to me, who do you like to win? Like, at least in the PGA, I could tell you, Patrick Cantley's 10 under right now, or Cam Young is 9 under.
Can I just tell you, if you guys ever want to be interested in golf, or you ever want to know if you should pick it up, do not watch Patrick Cantley golf. It is the equivalent to watching paint dry, and you will hate golf forever. You know what they did a side-by-side on Golf Channel?
Mm-hmm.
They did, who's the guy who just won the Open Championship? Fox. Ryan Fox. Yeah. They did how many shots Ryan Fox hit before Patrick Cantley took a putt.
Yeah, his pace of play is very slow. And it was something like 30 shots because
he's very fast.
I have a Patrick Cantley story, actually. So I got hot early in the pandemic, winning outright winners for the major championships. Like I had Morikawa, Fitzpatrick, or someone that randomly won one, long shots. And I just always liked Patrick. Like, he was always close. He was always in the mix.
He was always right there.
So for years and years and years, I'm betting Patrick Cantley, and just throwing money down the drain. I tweeted out, I can no longer bet Patrick Cantley. He'll probably go on to win a major championship. Within 5 minutes of sending that tweet, Patrick Cantley follows me on Twitter and said, your tweet was very funny. And then I ended up putting more money on him and ended up losing. So he's never won a major. I'm very disappointed in him. All righty, next game here. Are you intrigued this weekend in Chicago? You have the New York Yankees visiting the Chicago Cubs. Is Yankees at Cubs at Wrigley tickle your fancy?
No.
You're not an Ivy guy? You don't like Chicago? No?
No.
Okay.
Keep in mind, and this is even worse for me because I didn't grow up with baseball.
Okay.
And
New Orleans, there's no baseball team.
I grew up at the same park. Like we had little parks where you played.
Let's be real. If you were on the side of the street in New Orleans with like a beignet and a po' boy and some hurricanes, you could probably envision baseball going on in the streets.
Yeah.
Like, I've been in New Orleans for Mardi Gras. There's a lot of things that I don't know if I actually saw, but I thought I saw them.
Oh, yeah. It is. All it takes is I've never seen anybody that I brought to New Orleans get through 2 hurricanes without being a slobbering drunk.
Oh, I had to stay in New Orleans, the Super Bowl, when it was there 2-3 years ago, for 10 days. I got to the airport when I'm leaving, and the lady goes to me, can I just get a salad with grilled chicken? And she goes, you don't want like Cajun on it? You don't want this on it? You don't want that? I'm like, no. I want lettuce, tomato, grilled chicken. That's it.
They don't know how to cook grilled chicken.
Ugh.
Like I never had a grilled chicken breast until I left New Orleans.
That's crazy. Some of the best food though I've ever had. That place, Drago's, where they're doing the oysters right on the grill, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I was out with Patrick Peterson and Bryant McFadden. We went to some steakhouse and we're leaving, and Pat P, obviously legend down there,
yeah,
gets pulled over, and myself and McFadden are just thinking, hey, like, it's probably just a fan. Like, we'll keep on walking. He'll catch up with us. It was the director of the casino across the street. So we get into a private room the Monday of Super Bowl week. I'm sitting there saying, how much money am I going to have to lose here? Like, I didn't make millions. Like, I haven't made millions like Patrick Peterson and Bryant McFadden. Patrick Peterson takes out about like $5 or $8 grand from the ATM. I'm like, crap. McFadden takes out $500. I go, that's my man. I take out $500. We get to set the price. McFadden was like, I just want to play $20 hands. There's a table over us. It's a private room, so it's only our table and another table. There's like 3 drinks. We didn't see the people. In walk week before the Eagles play the Super Bowl up against Kansas City the second go around. It was Jason Kelce, Kylie Kelce, and Bo Allen. And it was just the 6 of us in the room having a grand old time.
Yeah.
And I got out of there about like 3 a.m. and, only lost $200. So I was good.
That's the thing about going in the casino. You have no idea what time it is, but you're just trying to, and you can't win early. If you win too early, you're done.
Yeah, and McFadden didn't want to drink, so Pat P goes, you're my drinking buddy for this evening. And they're giving free drinks in the casino, so I was just trying to make sure I wasn't losing too much money.
People take for granted. Everywhere is not like Vegas.
Yeah.
Most casinos throughout the country charge you for drinks.
Yeah. Atlantic City, they don't. Like, I'm going to Atlantic City next week, and they don't charge you for drinks.
They still have casinos?
I don't know if you like to go to them, but yeah, they do have casinos down there.
I used to go to AC all the time. It was like East Coast Vegas.
Yeah, they got some good restaurants down there.
Yeah.
They got Chef Volo's, a great Italian restaurant, displays Stephen Cookies, so looking forward to that. All righty, I know you love the WNBA. You want to watch Saturday, the Indiana Fever take on the Minnesota Lynx? Does that tickle your fancy?
No.
Well, Caitlin Clark.
No, although I do like watching Cunningham and Clark, because one is like a personal protector, and she's like female Draymond Green. She's always into something. Cunningham.
Yeah.
Always.
It's amazing. Like, the WNBA, the players hate Caitlin Clark. They hate her.
For reasons I can't explain, because they
Jealousy.
all make more money because of her.
Can you be real? Like, we're men. I have a sister. The petty drama that my sister gets in with her girlfriends, it's the same thing on the WNBA scale.
Right.
They hate Caitlin Clark because she's the popular girl that is bringing all this attention to the league. And there's a lot of other great players that maybe some are even better than Caitlin Clark. And they're like, well, why didn't I get that attention?
Right.
Well, I've been dominating this league for years. All righty. How about soccer? Are you interested this weekend in the Messi-less Inter Miami FC going up against the Columbus
Don't sell it like
Crew?
that. Don't sell it like that. See, if you would have said,
well, I'm not a fraud. Messi's not playing.
If you would have said, well, to be fair, if you would have said, are you into Inter Miami playing this week against whoever, my first question would have been, is Messi playing?
Exactly.
So I appreciate you, no.
I'm a man of integrity. I'm a man of honor.
Although they have been undefeated since they got back from World Cup break.
It's amazing how much you watch sports. Like, the fact that you know that, that is fascinating to me.
I don't sit down and look at things like it's must-watch TV, like sports, but I like watching competition. So if I'm scrolling through the channel in the middle of the day, right, and say it's the middle of the day, and I stop and I see, oh, NASCAR, how many laps they got left? 10? I'm in, right? Same thing with Formula One, with IndyCar. If I'm watching a big horse race, how many minutes till post? All right, I'm in. like basketball, whatever. Like I'll watch competition. I watch like crazy stuff on ESPN when nothing's available. So am I a must-see sports television guy? No. But I have been known to randomly pull up to some sport and watch it.
All right, last one. Are you watching men's junk tonight? Jansen Junk is going to be on the mound. Marlins at Mets.
It's disappointing, but there's
you like watching that junk.
There's a number, right? The number is 4 runs.
And if the Marlins get that, then you'll be happy.
Right. They've won one game out of the last, 15?
Well, they had the sweep against the Phillies.
Well, they won. That was the game they scored less than one run.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one game that they've won, and I don't know how many games if they scored less than 4 runs. It's crazy, but I always wonder with young hitting, do you have these ebbs and flows and ups and downs because they're young hitters? I don't know how baseball, I'm not used to a sport where if you do 30% of your job, you're awesome.
Yeah, here's the problem with the Marlins. They overachieved big time in June. So people then thought they were a good team. Then you have a bunch of young players that started feeling themselves. Then they don't play well. And it's like, oh, everyone was saying we're so good. Now everything's crashing and burning. And then you lose 12 or 13 in a row.
Right. But
I don't think they're as bad as what they are now, but they also was as good as what they were in June.
You know who didn't fall for it?
Who?
The organization.
Oh, yeah.
Because the organization said, no, we're not making any moves. Like, this was before
the day
they
the
went on
Marlins
this.
are buyers. I'll believe it when I see it.
Who are they going to buy, though? Like, if they buy somebody, it's going to have to be, but you take most of the money.
Well, yeah, like what? They're going to buy Tarek Skubal? Like, his next contract, you would need 4 Miami Marlins teams to equal what he's going to eventually command on the open market.
Or what about Tobin was like, Trout, let's get Trout.
Ugh, why? First off, he's not waiving his no trade clause, number one. He's not waiving his no trade clause to
go to Miami.
Yeah, that's not happening. All right, it is Tobin and Leroy. That's another edition of Tickle Your Fancy. So not a lot really to work with. I'm going to sound like Tua right here. I'm going to blame everybody but myself. Those games this weekend. I was watching this. I go, how is this a segment? It absolutely blows the games this weekend in the summer.
Well, because Tobin has something that he adds to it that you don't. And I always say my tickle's not fancy. So
what, UFC?
UFC.
Well, I love
boxing,
UFC. I love UFC, but it's not a premier weekend for UFC. It's like it's one of the smaller cards. So I wasn't going to waste your time with that. I respect you.
I'm old, right? What do you think? You know how many fights I have on my that I've ordered fights in boxing and UFC and then fell asleep beforehand?
But here's the thing, though. In my generation, as someone that's younger, the UFC is so much more popular. There's been 3 boxing matches that have been worth a damn in my lifetime. Tyson Fury against Deontay Wilder, which was awesome. Those fights were great. Pacquiao Mayweather took way too long to happen. It was a big event, but it should have happened 5 years before it did. But Floyd was playing games with Manny over the drug testing because he was afraid of him. And then it was the Canelo Crawford fight that I went to in Vegas, which the rest of the card stunk, but the final fight was a good fight. Boxing just doesn't deliver. Yeah, so was I. Oh, you guys were there? And I was there? And we didn't hang out.
Yeah, I know. Didn't know you were there.
There's something about these former football players that do shows here on QAM. Channing Crowder. Oh, I was in New York, Gelby. I should have hit you up. Leroy Horde. Oh, I was in Vegas. Now you don't even hit me up.
But it's not, because guess what? Our show was at 7 a.m.
Yeah, that's true.
And
did you go to the fight?
Yeah. It's when nobody's in the building.
Where'd you sit? Where'd you sit?
We were pretty high.
Oh man, I was rolling in a better circle. I was in the touchdown club downstairs.
See, there we go.
And then I was in a luxury box.
No.
Yeah. I walked in with Dave Chappelle. It's in an elevator. It's the only time I've ever been starstruck. It's Dave Chappelle and I. And I go, you can walk the red carpet. Don't worry. I'll just go around you.
Do you know who my guy is?
Who?
Gail Sayers.
That's the one guy that you get starstruck on.
That's the one. It's the only signed autograph picture I have.
How about that? Yeah.
That's it.
Dave Chappelle. And you know me. I could talk. I was in the elevator with Dave Chappelle. Humming. It was the only guy I've ever got starstruck by. So, all righty. We'll take a break here on Tobin and Leroy. We'll see what tickles Leroy's fancies next. I do have a potential trade down the road for the Miami Dolphins if Malik Willis doesn't work. We'll tell you that on the other side. Alrighty, welcome back in. It is Tobin and Leroy. Zach Gelb in for Tobin on this Friday. Chris Perkins going to join us coming up in an hour and 10 minutes from now, or hour 20 minutes from now, as we'll do a little training camp with him. We do have some NFL news, though, that is a breaking story in the broadcasting world. You know, what was it, last Thursday, you had Tony Romo get arrested for an OWI. And I was sitting there, and I know that there was a Daily Mail article that did run, and I said this when I was in for Hawk, that like, oh, CBS claims that Tony Romo is definitely going to be back. Well, Tony Romo has now been placed on leave. He's going to be taking a leave of absence from CBS. And my first reaction when I saw this...
Till the season starts.
Well, hold on. I don't know if this is a leave. I think this is a nice way, and this will end up being permanent. Number one, he's an overrated broadcaster. He's got $72 million left on a contract for 4 more years. That's a lot of money for someone that even before this arrest, the opinion wasn't that high as it used to be on Tony Romo. But when I first saw this, it's like, all right, he's taking a leave in July. The season doesn't start till the middle of September. That's a lot of time to get yourself right and come on back. CBS has already announced that J.J. Watt will join Jim Nantz and Tracy Wolfson as CBS Sports' lead NFL team during Tony Romo's absence, and they'll release the remainder of their NFL on CBS roster at a later date. The statement from CBS, Tony is on leave from his role at CBS Sports until further notice. So he's going to miss the start of the season. Then this is what will happen. JJ, who is up and coming in the broadcast booth, is a bigger name, in my opinion, than Tony Romo. JJ was phenomenal with Iron Eagle last year. I think JJ will do wonders with Jim Nantz, and we probably won't see Tony Romo again. Maybe they put Tony on a different booth at a different team, but when you're making $72 million over 4 years, people are looking for a reason to get out when the opinion is soured on you, and you do what you did with this OWI. I would bet that we've seen the last of Tony Romo in a broadcasting booth for CBS.
So here's the problem. That he didn't get, I mean, they did a sobriety test, but they didn't do an actual blood test or anything like that.
He refused to
he refused
to blow into the device.
So you automatically get charged with something just based on that. Can they fire him? Because there is no actual evidence that he was inebriated other than failing a field test. So his argument will always be, I didn't take the test. So
and he was lawyered up even when he was getting arrested. He was like, my lawyers told me don't do this.
I would almost guarantee that CBS is basically trying to figure out a way around this. And when you have not been charged with a DUI, right?
Well, he's been charged with an OWI.
Right.
Operating while intoxicated, same thing.
Yeah, but there's no, like, other than failing a field sobriety test, there's no proof.
So I wonder what the language is in the contract. Because, like, when you're a player, conduct detrimental to the team is extremely ambiguous. Is there some language in his contract, conduct detrimental to CBS or whatever, and this is their out? Because he was arrested. We all saw the mugshot. He looks as tanked as tank could be. He's in the car getting pulled over saying he's going to grandma and grandpa. Well, his grandparents, all 4 of them, it's been reported that they're dead. So, you know, if my kids are in the car, maybe you say, oh, like we're going to grandma and grandpa. That's one thing. You're talking about your kids' grandparents. When you're by yourself, you would think you're saying I'm going to my mom and my dad's. Then since the place he got pulled over, it was too populated and cars were zipping by, they take him underground. I've never seen a man stretch before taking a test to prove that he is sober.
Which
and
might be one of the indications you are not sober if you start stretching.
Did you see I get it, it's a serious thing, but social media is undefeated.
Doing the Dak Prescott.
Oh, it was amazing.
It was amazing.
The Dak hips, the Romo hips, just absolutely phenomenal.
Well, somebody just said in the chat that CBS already had an issue with Romo long before the DUI.
Yeah, because I was on an island here. When Romo first came onto the scene, don't get me wrong, he was good. But people were slobbering over him because he predicted the plays. Once he got away from the game, he wasn't able to predict the plays because he was so close to it as easy as he once did. And everything with Tony Romo, you watch the video of him talking to the officers, it's basically him broadcasting. He's incoherently rambling. I was just waiting for him to say, wait a second, Jim, or wait a second, officer, and it would have been the same thing of his broadcasting. The opinion of him in the booth has quickly soured. And when you're paying someone $18, $19 million a year, of course you're looking ways to get out of it. Right. And the one way that now maybe legally you could get out of it and not have to give him the dinero, depending on the language of that contract, is using this arrest and saying it's a leave now. But once they've already said JJ's going to be doing games, and who knows, maybe, I don't know if Romo has a problem or not, so maybe he's going to get help and they want to give him time and then they're going to spin it that way. But once Watt steps into that role and does a few games on the number one team, I don't think you're demoting JJ Watt because he's the future of that network. Tony Romo is not.
I would say part of the problem with Tony Romo has been, so the crazy thing about when he first started, he wasn't opinionated, he was informative.
Yeah.
And then it went from being informative to opinionated. What he thinks they should do, how he thinks they should go. People don't want to, no. We want to know what and why they're doing what they're doing. And it happens to anybody, any profession. You start getting your flowers and you make it about you. And one of the things that I will always say, you can watch a football game without announcers and color analysts.
100%.
You cannot watch a game without the game.
Yep.
And so from that standpoint, it's everybody's job to fit in to their space.
Mm-hmm.
And giving your opinion over and over again about what's going on and how things are going or whatever is you trying to force your way into that space and not just kind of get acclimated to that space. And that's what happened to Tony Romo. It became, I get one of the reasons why it's a little bit different now is because offenses are so much more unpredictable and coaches are so much unpredictable than they were 5-10 years ago.
Sure.
Because of the offenses that they run and who wants to be the guy that analyzes a 5-yard route, which is what they're all doing, trying to get the ball out of the quarterback's hand. So he kind of rambles about it.
And you look at Romo, when he came onto the scene, that Patriot-Chiefs championship game, he was phenomenal. You tune him in now, it's a totally different broadcaster. And you were right. You're hosting a radio show, you're hosting a podcast, the listener's coming for you. You're the number one on CBS as a color analyst. Yeah, it's better to have someone that people like and that's someone that's good. But you could put, Brittany and JFig in the booth.
Right.
I'm not tuning in for Brittany and JFig. I'm tuning in for the Dolphins going up against the Vikings. It has nothing to do with the announcers. And that's why Romo, and I get it, there's so much money involved here, but Romo making $18 million a year, it's ridiculous. So you have to play the part and be well-liked. And once you have something and the opinion is soured on you, and probably Romo's a little bit difficult to coach, you're going to look for ways to move off of that person and not have to pay them the $72 million that's remaining on this 4-year contract.
I think one of the things about Tom Brady, and he always almost does it like he puts himself in this situation and says what he would do.
Mm-hmm.
So you're getting insight from somebody, one of the best to ever do it.
Yeah.
Right. And so from that standpoint, you're still learning how a great mind in the sport thinks about the situations. And that's fun. So you can do it one of two ways. You can give an opinion based on what you would do because you were one of the best to do it, or you can inform people of what's going to happen because of down and distance and situation. I think one of the best to ever do both is John Madden.
100%.
John Madden was not only entertaining, but he was hilarious.
And relatable.
The
turducken.
And the funny thing about it is when you would do the production meetings, right? Because for some reason he loved me. I have no idea why. He loved me. He always talked about me. I made all Madden. I wasn't even a starter, and I made all Madden. Right? It's the craziest thing. But you go talk to him, he just want to have fun.
Yeah. And he would never fly anywhere. He would have that Madden bus.
He wanted to kick the tires around with football. He wanted to have a good time, talk about the game or whatever. But more importantly, you felt like relaxed in there. It wasn't like these serious football questions all the time. And it was fun talking to him.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Like, I understand things go on in those production meetings, but people at first, when Brady became announcer, were like, oh, he's going to get all this intel and he's going to run back to the Raiders. First off, the Raiders need as much help as they could get. But
Tobin thinks he runs the Raiders.
He has a role. Like, I think his opinion is important, but this idea that, I don't know if the Chiefs are doing a game that Brady is doing, that Andy Reid needs to tell Tom Brady everything. You don't got to tell him nothing. You control what gets out.
Are you guys familiar with head coaches? They don't give anything out.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's family. They are, listen, they are covering up their offense and their defense and their game plan.
Yeah.
Like they're holding the nuclear code.
Well, even look at it. You look at a college sideline or an NFL sideline. I always laugh when they have those big oak tag boards and there's like a picture of Leroy. There's a picture of an Oregon Duck. There's a picture of some dude sleeping in a bed. It's like, what are you doing here?
I don't, for the life of me, why doesn't college just put the mic in the thing in the headset?
Yeah,
in the quarterbacks.
Didn't they do that last year? I think they did. I think they
did. They
allowed
finally did it.
Yeah,
because it's like so stupid.
No, yeah.
And the other thing is that, hey, this is the one thing that drives me crazy about coaches and about sports, right? You would like to have knowledge of what the other team is doing. Absolutely. Okay? But if you sitting across from Myles Garrett, does it matter whether you know or not?
Yeah, he's still going to kick your ass.
It just, there's certain, at some point, when does it become about the competition and less about the coaches and their planning? I get you have to make adjustments. I get you. But you know what? When it boils down to it, you have to beat the guy across from you. It's simple as that. To say, and players don't do themselves any favors when they get their butts whooped and they say, they knew exactly what we're going to do. They always do. They got 7 years worth of film on you.
Well, my favorite was whoever the Colts linebacker was after the whole Deflategate thing happened. He goes, did you see the score? He goes, they could have played us with a golf ball. They still would have kicked our ass. Like that was the rare moment of transparency.
But that's the point. That's one of the things me and Tobin get into all the time is I'm more willing to go along the lines of the other team was better. Mm-hmm. Not the officials, not this. Now we got screwed on this.
Tobin looks for the salacious excuse.
Right. Yeah. Right. And so, like, at what point, like, all the years I've been doing the show with Tobin, right? And we go back and forth. I've never heard these words. That other team, really good. We're not there yet.
That other team.
Right.
They're really good. Not there yet. Goosey. Leroy.
But if you make it a rivalry team, you'll never say that.
Well, that's what makes it fun. I wouldn't want you guys to agree on things. I wouldn't want you guys to be the same person. He has his cockamamie beliefs. You have your cockamamie beliefs. And, you know, it's like a Venn diagram. You make you, he makes him, and then you blend on some things in the middle.
We don't.
Nothing.
We like, Brittany, has there ever been anything we've come together on?
Food.
Because even when we get close,
they don't even agree on food.
Oh my!
Even when it's close, one of us goes rogue.
It's true.
Like right when you're about to hold hands and walk together, one takes the hand away.
Because here's Tobin. Here's what Tobin says. So we'll have a conversation and we're talking about it and blah blah blah, and it gets close and he'll go, "So you agree with me?"
Because it's true. Because you just say things differently, and don't let someone come in here and say exactly what Tobin said, and then Leroy's like, "You're a genius." That's exactly what I've been trying to say. I've been saying this all along.
That's amazing.
Leroy, it's not what's being said; it's about who's saying it.
Gotcha.
Of course. But when
so if I come in here if I come in here and said something that Tobin said on
Wednesday,
Gelby, you're my guy. Tobin says it. You're an effing moron.
1,000%.
And everybody will stand up. They'll sit at the screen and look and go.
There was this huge argument about John Morant coming to Miami and how Tobin was like really down for John Morant to come and Leroy didn't want him. We had Wes Goldberg on.
Yeah, sure.
And he was explained why it was like a good idea to have to go after John Morant. And after Leroy was like, man, you have me convinced. You just made it sound so good.
But here, how he explains it and how Tobin explained it, even though it's the same thing.
He essentially said the same thing. The difference is that Tobin goes, we can get him on the cheap skis. And like Wes gave you like this is why it would be, so cheap to get him. And then it's like the Messiah came down and has spoken to you.
You could get him on the cheap skis. He would have been Dunsky, though, in Miami. That guy couldn't handle Memphis. Imagine giving him the lifestyle of Miami. He'd be walking around with his fake guns and he'd have all this access to all these beautiful women. He would be in and out of the league in 2.5 years.
Why do people think, all right, that if a person's shown a certain behavior for, 6 years in the league?
Yeah, about that, yeah. Because he was at Murray State, yeah.
Right. That a person who's had a track
half
record
decade in the league, yeah.
A track record of, behavior, that we could fix him.
And putting him in a place where there's going to be even more distractions.
Because Miami is much worse than Memphis.
I'll play the role of Tobin here. It's because it's heat culture, bro. It's Pat. Come on. Look at it.
Yeah.
Are you serious? We could do everything that all those other bozos can't because we got the corpse of Pat Riley.
Yeah. The last thing you want is a guy who has sketchy behavior down on South Beach with over $100+ million.
Yeah. All righty. We got to wrap here. Headlines are brought to you by Doral Kia. In Miami at a Domino's game, you always find your Abuelito, and whenever you want a low price, you save with your Pricito. Save now with your Pricito at Doral Kia. The Marlins 3-game win streak has come to an end last night. They lost to the Mets after taking a 1-0 lead 4-2. The Marlins back in action right here on QAM later this evening. Jansen Junk will be going up against Freddie Peralta. Chop Robinson has been shining at Dolphins training camp. Whip-de-damn-do. Let's see it in the regular season. On the offensive side, there's been a ton of pre-snap penalties. Deebo Samuel back to the Niners on a 1-year contract worth up to $7 million. And Chris Olave signed a 4-year extension with the Saints for $132 million with 90 guaranteed. The weather report is brought to you by Tornado Roofing and Contracting. Have a leaky roof? Take action now. Get your free estimate. Call 954-968-8155. Rain on the way to South Florida later this evening. It's getting pushed back a little bit in the forecast, though. It was earlier 5 p.m. now, 7 p.m., a 25% chance. So maybe not as much rain as we thought. But it's cloudy. There's a heat advisory until 6 p.m. this evening. High of 93, low of 79. Coming on back with more of Tobin and Leroy. Zach Gelb for Tobin right after these short messages. All right, it is Tobin and Leroy. Zach Gelb in for Tobin on this Friday. Leroy, by the way, a lot of people are complimenting you on our YouTube stream. They say you look so young today because you, I guess, used the clippers to shave a little bit.
No, I don't use the clippers, but my face was hurting. I had to take a stab at it. It was brutal.
So how do you shave then?
Magic shave. Y'all don't know nothing about that. Y'all white folks. Magic shave. It's like a Nair for men.
See, now I could understand why Tobin hates you guts. Like, what the? How do you shave?
Okay.
Just tell me.
I
Tell
just
me. How do you
did.
shave? Explain it to me though, instead of going, "Oh, I'm black, you're white. You have no clue how I shave."
No, I said, did I not say magic shave?
What does that mean?
Like you could have left, a little bit.
No, because I can't. I don't have any way
you
of
look like a
measuring.
biker.
If I was cutting it with
kinda
clippers, I
strange.
could do it. So it's just
You're gonna
magic
drop
shave. I
away
told
from
you, it's like Nair for men. Did I not say that, Gelb?
I don't know. JFig, did you have
That's
any
what
clue
I
what magic
said.
shave was?
No, but he did say Nair for men, so I could only assume
Right.
that's what it was.
Like I explained it, and you jumped out my throat. It's not my fault. You know what? That's why I
So-
said.
Okay, maybe he wants you to explain the process. So like,
Yeah,
maybe
explain it.
Does
Put the
it
cream- you put the
if the
cream
weight
on
is
your
a certain?
face,
Mhm.
You wait like 15 minutes, wipe it off, gone.
Oh, so
And
you
it's
like
gone.
to basically like wax yourself is what you're saying.
It's
No,
Nair.
it's the cream.
Wax is different.
Wax you
It's
have to
Nair
pour.
for men.
Yeah. Why can't you just be a
But
man and take the
because
shaving cream out and use
because
the
here's why.
razor?
Because he
Here's
has
why.
one arm.
Here's why. You
One
ready?
hand.
Here's why.
Oh yeah, that's true. Good point.
Because I've never seen a white person use magic shave.
I didn't even know
to
what it was.
Explain it if you don't even know what it is becomes a little bit difficult. I tried a razor before, right?
Uh-huh.
My face after 3 days looked like a Nestle Crunch, and it hurt so bad. So
That's amazing.
I just never look smooth. I had a lot of hair too. It hurt. I had to leave it on for a couple of extra minutes because it was so thick.
Well, you're looking good, by the way. I was giving you a compliment, and you turned this into a race thing. I was
No,
just saying,
you
no, you're
didn't.
looking good. You're
But
looking
it's,
young.
wait, can I just say this? If I say something that is
That's a Leroy
factually
thing.
accurate, how is it racist?
It's not. But you made it into a race. I'm not saying you were racist or I'm racist. You just
No,
made
but
it
I'm
into a
just
race
saying.
situation. I asked the question. You
I
can't ask a
stated-
question anymore in this world. What has this
No.
world turned into?
No, but that's what it is. I said I knew I was going to have a problem explaining it. So that's why I went there.
Okay.
Like you can get up in the morning, put some soap on your face and go at it with a razor and you're good. Matt, boom, 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 right? Black hairs are curly.
Okay.
So no, seriously.
no,
so
I'm
if
just
you
laughing
take-
at the conversation.
Leroy, I understood what you were saying, but I think Zach Gelb, he's here on an undercover mission.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I think you're out here trying to start some beef because apparently now you wouldn't listen to me or Brittany.
Huh?
I don't know. You said that last segment.
Oh,
Keeping tabs on you. Keeping tabs.
Oh, in the broadcasting booth? No, it's just the two
Mhm.
names that I saw. And let me be real. If the both of you were in the broadcast booth, you'd be thanking me if I was trying to put you in that position. Do you know the salaries that come with that?
Oh yeah.
Like
Do you
if
know the
CBS
salaries that
called
come
you and
here?
said $2 million a year to go broadcast, you would say, goodbye, Tobin, goodbye, Leroy, goodbye,
Oh, yeah.
Brittany, in a second.
You were like, yep.
Okay.
Mhm.
Let me rephrase it. Hockman and Crowder could be in the broadcast booth for a Patriot and Dolphins game. I wouldn't give two craps. I'm tuning in for the Patriots and the Dolphins, not
Right.
the broadcasters.
Correct.
Now, if
That's
it's
better,
the
that's
Tobin
better.
and Leroy show, I'm tuning in for Tobin and Leroy. But there's a difference there in the talk show compared to tuning in for a football game.
Yes.
All righty.
Point
So-
well taken. You remember, I don't know if you were around. Remember, they did a game with no announcers.
Really?
Yes.
That's kind of nice.
No announcer. You just watched the game.
Well, did they really, or did you just have the game on mute?
No,
Because I know you
they
like to
did.
watch the game in silence.
You can pull it up. Look it up.
No announcers.
No announcers.
Just natural sound?
I think it might even been the Jets playing.
Well, that says a lot. Who would
Yeah.
want to go watch the Jets even if you're getting paid? All righty, let me ask you this, though, Leroy. CJ Stroud. There's a lot of talk that this could be his final year in Houston. would you have any interest in a redemption tour for CJ Stroud in Miami?
It was the New York Jets and Miami Dolphins.
Not, that's an F crew if I've even seen one.
You weren't born. 1980.
No, we're going back to the 80s.
So
black and white television back then too.
Yeah. So here's the deal. Why, and I would like fans to explain this to me. Why would you sign a quarterback that's basically in the same situation as your quarterback that you just got rid of? Had a great start when Mike McDaniel came in, and then now not so much.
But CJ is a lot more accomplished than
accomplished.
Than
yes,
Tua.
but
he's won 3 playoff games.
It's okay, but still, he won 3 playoff games. If he's getting to the point where they don't want him anymore.
Well, I think the objectives are different. The objective for the Dolphins is to bring stability. CJ Stroud could bring stability. The objective for the Texans is to go win the Super Bowl. 3 years in the league, he's been to the postseason 3 times, won 3 playoff games.
Okay, then why would they get rid of him?
Because they want a guy that could go win a Super Bowl.
Where is that guy?
Could be Baker Mayfield. I think if you put Baker in Houston, Baker could win a Super Bowl.
You think Baker Mayfield gives you a better chance of winning a Super Bowl?
Yes.
Then
did you see CJ in that playoff game? He threw 4 interceptions in the first half.
Well,
Baker goes in there. He can manage the game.
The offensive line was terrible too.
No, it was terrible. Yeah. No question about it. But Baker Mayfield could do what Sam Darnold did in Seattle.
Why do we only tell part of the story, though? You see what I mean? That's where, from the athlete side of me, immediately says he wasn't good, but he was running for his life.
Yeah.
So that means, does he have to be twice as good to win in spite of them?
I also have to ask a question, and I need an unbiased person because, Leroy, you know a lot about me. JFig and Brittany, how old do you think I am? Just wondering. If you had to take a guess.
That's probably in your 30s.
Yeah, okay. Like 35 maybe?
Yeah.
Okay, fair.
35, 33.
In range. I turned 32 in August. Some guy in the YouTube chat thought I was 45. And he goes, is Gelb even too young to is he like, he doesn't know the 80s? No, I was born in 94. Jeez.
You want me to tell you the problem?
I was born in 93.
Here's the problem. The problem
you were born in 2000, Brittany?
Yes, I was.
Oh my God.
I'm 26.
The problem is this. It's not that they don't think you're that old. They're taking the job and what you have done and putting an age on it. And not realizing that you were really young. That's the problem.
I also blame my girlfriend. I look a lot younger when I'm clean shaven. I used to always be clean shaven. She likes the beard, so I grow out the beard or the little facial hair scruff. I think it makes me look older.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. Some people are saying you look like the Black Hulk Hogan, by the way, Leroy, with that thing you got going on.
Hey, if you would have saw me yesterday, I look like I was 80.
Yeah, he looked. Yeah,
it hurt. But then when I shaved everything off, my daughter goes, "Ooh, Dad, you look like Ruballs."
Does he know what Ruballs are?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Who, Rebecca?
Oh, I'm saying, does he know what Ruballs are?
Oh
no.
So a couple of years ago, me and Tobin were like online. And we were looking up kangaroos, and then they had this advertisement for Ruballs. Basically, they take the sack and make a little satchel. So and they were called Ruballs. So we were gonna buy a little satchel, but it cost too much.
Let me tell you,
$59.
You were gonna get Ruballs encapsulated into a trophy.
Yes.
JFig like $100 for this.
Yeah, we were going to get
JFig and Brittany. They deserve a raise having to deal with you and Leroy.
You know what? I think so.
By the way, see how quickly I won them over? I say, oh, you should get more money. They go from we hate Gelb to now all of a sudden we absolutely love Gelb. We got to take a break here.
We never said that.
I don't know. You guys thought I was like a plant to sabotage the show or something.
I don't know. You probably working closely with the Hawk and Crowder show, so I got to make sure, I protect my family around here.
Let me tell you something. I do not put myself in between beef between men. I just don't do it. I just stir the pot. I'm a pot stirrer.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
So are we, so we have to make sure.
Okay. Takes one to know one. I have a big take that Leroy Horde's going to love on the other side. I'm telling you, he's going to absolutely love it. We'll get to it next. 104.3 FM WQAM. All right, it is Tobin and Leroy. Zach Gelb in for Tobin today. Chris Perkins going to join us coming up at 1:20. We'll get an update on Dolphins training camp from him. Leroy, I've been workshopping 2 takes, and I want to run them by you and just see if you agree or disagree with them, all right?
Yep.
Okay. Take number 1. What I'm really impressed by so far with Jeff Hafley is his sideline presence and the way that he just conducts himself at the podium. And I feel like there's an adult in the room. And I don't know how good the Dolphins are going to be. They're probably not going to be good. But I feel like his presence is something that makes me have some confidence that he could be the man that moves the Dolphins in the right direction.
I would agree with that. I think it's more important, especially now that you have an adult in the room when things are going bad and not when things are going good. I think when Mike McDaniel took over, the team was in a different place and they were expected to have success right away. And so the attitude and kind of the bravado that all these guys came into the Mike McDaniel regime was a little bit different than it is now. Now you got 2 guys coming in the regime. They know that it's going to take a lot of work. First things first. What are we going to do first? We're going to change the attitude in the locker room. We're going to change the way we do business. We're going to change the way we approach the game and how we, coach and how we prepare. And so now that has the ear of everybody in the locker room because nobody's experienced it. So a 7-year guy is going to be the same as a 1-year guy. You're all learning this together. So he has to kind of do that.
And it's really like the presence too, because like McDaniel, he shows up with the sunglasses on, the capris. He's got the vape pen on the sideline. He was like wanting to be a GQ head coach. Hafley just shows up and he's all about ball. I think that presence is important.
Buzz cut, right. I think sometimes the way you behave and the way you act sets the tone for how the rest of your team acts. So Mike McDaniel was a little bit laid back, a little more laissez-faire about how he went about doing his work. And it showed up with some of the players not coming to meetings or being late and showing up whenever, and they had that same attitude. Now, the problem is not when you're winning. See, people when you're winning, everybody can get away with that. Oh, Mike, look at him. Listen to some of the things he's saying. It's awesome, right? The problem is when you're losing.
How do you respond?
Now you got guys not showing up to meetings or coming late. And how, as a coach, do you get that urgency, that sense of urgency to turn it around? And what ended up happening is you couldn't. Not with all the real stuff that was going on the football team.
Yeah. And my other take that I have here. So Patrick Mahomes, he's a full go for Chiefs training camp.
Yeah.
He tore his ACL in midway through December.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like some players can just beat science and heal faster than others.
No.
You don't agree with that?
No.
Why not?
Absolutely not. So the only here's what's amazing about this comment. The only people that can beat science are the good players. You've never came to me with a scrub and said that guy's beating science. It's always the good players, right?
Yeah, it's like an Adrian Peterson.
Here's the deal. And when you have a tear or you have a hamstring or you have there's different variances of this injury of which you don't know until you have the surgery. So sometimes it's a partial tear. Sometimes it's torn all the way. There's all different levels of the recovery that all you get is what the injury is. And so why does one guy heal quicker than the other? Because of the injury. It's named the same thing, but there's different variances of that injury. And we tend to forget that.
I'm going to be honest with you. Those weren't really actually my takes. I texted Tobin because I said, give me 2 takes that Leroy would definitely disagree with, because I just wanted to say.
Wait a minute.
Science
When you said
Beat science.
Beat science. Says
like,
it all.
I was testing something out, because you said if I would say something similar to Tobin, that you would agree with me and not Tobin. The first one you walked right into about coaching sideline presence matter. The second one, though, you continued to say that was nonsense.
Your mistake was using beat science. If you would have used different verbiage, you would have gotten too close to his verbiage.
They're trying to coach you up how to get past Leroy. So
the other one.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing with the coach.
I'm telling you, he's an undercover today.
Right. The problem is that why I may agree with that. The reasons why I agree with it are totally different than what people may think, right? Like, sports is a lot of failure.
Yeah.
Right? And how you navigate through that failure will determine how your chances turn around for success. And what happens in football, the more arrogant you are, it almost seems like the less likely you are to turn it around when it doesn't go your way. And you complain and you pout and you cry. And what a coach like Hafley will do is because of how they're building this and what they're going through, he's going to handle the situation a little bit differently. And they're going to be able to come through it even though they might not have early success.
Yeah, like the odds are that McDaniel will probably win more games with the Dolphins than what Hafley did. But I look at Hafley, that's a guy that could be a player's coach that isn't a doormat. McDaniel was a player's coach that was a doormat. And when they're winning and going to the playoffs, it's all great. Sit up there and act like a clown at the podium with all those jokes. But the moment he had some tough times, that's not a leader.
Because here's the problem. The same guys you've been cool with, now you got to go to them and ask them something that you've never asked before.
And hold them accountable and be rude with them.
Whereas what Hafley is doing is building it the other way. Like, you could be cool with them, but they're still going to be held accountable. And you're going to emphasize that early. So that when they get to these tough times, and everybody goes through tough patches if you play sports.
Sure.
Everybody does. That he's going to be able to go to an individual man to man, because he's been upfront and he's handled himself a certain way. He's going to be able to go to him and make those demands of him and hold them accountable, right? And call you out in front of the team, right? Mike McDaniel couldn't do that, because here's how you know he couldn't. Because you hear chatter about what was going on in the locker room and Mike wasn't doing nothing, right? Like, I've had coaches, Belichick was the worst at it. Like, he was like,
we're not having any ping pong balls. No ping pong tables, not happening.
Well, it's not even that. What Bill did that people don't realize is he put the team in a position so it could run itself. That you would take. He had his leaders, guys he trusted. Pepper Johnson.
Yeah.
Right. Everson Walls was there. We had at outside linebacker, Carl Banks, right? He had guys that he had. I played with Joe Morris, so I got to play with both Morris brothers, right? That he had people there that if something was going awry, before he even had a chance, they would get on you, right? So he did it that way, but he was a no-nonsense coach. He worked us like dogs, right?
Sure.
So, like, Denny made an announcement. I heard Denny yell 3 times, right? That little incident after the when he was with the Cardinals.
Oh, the Bears are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook. You want to crown them? Crown their asses.
That's really not Denny. Denny didn't do that. He stopped practice 1 time, and he never stopped it in all the years that I was there. And I tell you what, when he yelled and blew the whistle, everybody started hyperventilating and panicking because it had never happened, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like the dad that doesn't really yell, but and then when he yells, you're like, oh, I'm going to stop what I'm doing.
Because Denny had a rule. Denny said, I don't fine people, I cut them. right?
I had a professor once tell me, I don't fail people. And I go, great, I was a senior. He goes, I'll just see you out and then F you up in the streets. I go, that's a good line by a professor. It was a hip hop class at Temple University. So here were the takes. I know we got to take a break. It was a great elective at Temple. I said, what's a take that you have that you know Leroy will disagree with? Here are the 4 that he gave me. It's a long list, LOL. He goes, OTAs matter. I couldn't sell that one because they don't. And we already talked about it earlier. He said, coaching sideline presence matters. We got you on that one. If you really want, Aaron Rodgers is an underrated quarterback. I couldn't sell that one.
Hey, I will fight you.
And then the last one was some athletes could beat science and he'll faster than others. I go, okay, I know I could sell coaching sideline presence. The science one, maybe.
The three of us knew.
Walk out of the room.
The 3 of us knew something was up because we've never heard another human being say beating science.
That's you. I literally was in the corner. I don't know if anybody noticed, but when he said beat science, I started laughing because I was like, "Is Tobin here? Like, what's going on?"
Right. So
you knew something was up. No one said anything though.
Right. No.
Because
what are we doing?
See how far you would push up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna go if you agreed with that one. I was gonna soft launch the Rodgers one, but once I got you on one and didn't get the other, I go, okay, let's go.
Aaron Rodgers and soft launch are not compatible.
Aaron Rodgers is a Hall of Famer. So
yes.
Let's start there.
His wife also doesn't exist too, by the way.
Has there been a Hall of Fame quarterback that has lost with more than Aaron Rodgers?
Well, people in Green Bay will tell you. And now you're having me argue with myself, but because I agree, Rodgers is properly rated in my estimation. Like he should have won more. He should have been to more than one Super Bowl. But people in Green Bay will tell you, well, the defense at the end wasn't great.
No, we didn't.
Or he
use
never
that
got a great number wide receiver.
We never said that about Peyton Manning.
I agree. I have been critical of Rodgers through the years. I'm just telling you, there's a lot of people that give him excuses. I don't think you could say that he's underrated.
Okay. So remember I think it was a divisional game where he threw the ball away and the end zone was wide open.
Yeah.
That's not on offensive line.
They're at the end of the Rodgers tenure, he went up against the 49ers. He was trying to force feed the ball to Adams. He had a wide receiver cutting, I think it was Lazard, down the middle of the field who was wide open. And then the worst one, because the Seahawks game, that was not his fault. But the one up against Tampa Bay where Brady threw 3 or 4 interceptions in the second half, was trying to give them the game. He had 3 drives, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. But everyone crushes the coach because the coach at the end said, oh, let's take the field goal because we can't put the ball in the end zone. Where if Rodgers would have ran earlier, not thrown the ball away, he would have been in the end zone, or at least would have got a first down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
we're simpatico on that take, by the way.
Again, everybody thinks it means I hate Aaron Rodgers. I'm like, no, as a guy who's been in the sport most of my life, I hate when you have 2 situations that are very similar and we react totally different and nobody can tell me why. The answer can't be because you just don't like that guy. Because I don't know if you remember how Peyton Manning used to get abused because he couldn't beat Tom Brady.
Of course I do. I'm a Patriot fan. I remember when he threw the 3 interceptions against Ty Law and the 4th one to Rodney Harrison.
And Aaron Rodgers never got any of that. And he had better
A lot of excuses for Rodgers because the analytic nerds and look at the arm strength and the accuracy and all that stuff.
I hate analytics.
You know why? That's what I'll agree with. I do hate analytics.
You know why? Because
people live and die by them.
As a coach, you're the foremost expert in getting the feel of the game and figuring out what situation I should go with. If I'm an analytic guy, I can just look at a book and I don't need you.
Yeah. All righty, we got to get to Chris Perkins. We'll do headlines on the other side. It is Tobin and Leroy Gelb in for Tobin. Well, also some of his takes on a Friday. We're back for the 4th hour of the show when we come on back. All righty, we're back here on Tobin and Leroy. Chris Perkins going to join us coming up in about 10 to 15 minutes from now. I know you guys touched on this a little bit yesterday, Leroy, and I'm not a huge Madden fan. Like when I was a kid, I loved playing Madden, but as an adult now, I don't have a gaming system. The fact that De'Von Achane was ranked 11th amongst running backs, I just don't get it. Because it would be one thing if all of his yards just came on the ground. The fact that he's a dual threat running back and he has like a Bijan Robinson and a Christian McCaffrey, Jahmyr Gibbs type to him, I would have thought for Madden specifically, he would have been higher up on that list.
I literally said the same thing yesterday and with a couple of caveats, and that's this. Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry are workhorses for their team.
Okay.
You can count on them. You can depend on them, right? And they're also playing on good teams.
Sure.
When you look at Jahmyr Gibbs, good team.
Yep.
You look
McCaffrey,
at
good team.
McCaffrey, good team. And so that brings the question, Bijan's on a very talented team. They haven't had success.
But more success than the Dolphins.
More success than the Dolphins. So if I take a great player and put him on a crappy team, what is his success going to be? Especially at running back. And maybe that has something to do with it, because I think the most dynamic running back is Bijan, and he should probably be number one, followed by Christian McCaffrey based on how they're used. Now, if I had to win a championship, I'm going with Saquon or Derrick Henry. So how do you compare two totally different style of running backs other than looking at their team?
The other thing here too is it's Madden. So I think the versatility of a De'Von Achane, the fact that he could dice you up in between the tackles, and then also you could just dump the ball off to him in the backfield and he could scatter for 30, 40 yards, that should put him up on this list. Like, I'm not saying he's better than all these running backs, but if I'm playing Madden, the guy's in front of him. I'd rather have De'Von Achane over Kyron Williams. I'd rather have De'Von Achane over Kenneth Walker. I'd rather have De'Von Achane over Josh Jacobs. For Madden, probably not Saquon Barkley.
Those are the only three, though.
Derrick Henry, sure. You know what? James Cook, and here's why. James Cook, I know, had the most rushing yards in the league last year. De'Von Achane is better at catching the football than James Cook.
But better team.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? Better team. See, so, like, I'm a big believer in, like, the success of your team, the better players benefit from, because depending on what position you play, right? Like, I was in Minnesota and we went through 4 quarterbacks and they all went to the Pro Bowl because they played with Randy and Chris.
Makes it easy.
Right. So what part of that was their talent, or what part of that was they were on a good team?
Was Gus Frerotte one of those guys? Did you have Gus in Minnesota or no?
No, I did not.
Oh, okay.
I had Warren Moon,
Hall of
then
Famer.
Brad Johnson,
Super Bowl champion.
then Randall Cunningham,
Randall Cunningham.
and then Dante Culpepper.
Not bad. Good quarterbacks.
They had one thing in common, except Brad Johnson and Warren Moon. Brad Johnson threw to Randy Moss.
Oh.
Warren Moon didn't. And Warren Moon probably threw the best football you've ever seen. It never didn't have a tight spiral.
Even better than Aaron Rodgers' tight
spiral. There we go. So like, yeah, I
You know what's crazy though? I think this speaks to a bigger point. People talk about how the running back position has been devalued because of running back by committees. I'm not trying to make you have an aneurysm right now. I'm just saying what people say. Right. You look at this list. I think of the Lions offense. I think of Jahmyr Gibbs first. I don't think of their quarterback. The Niners, I think of Christian McCaffrey first. I don't think of their quarterback. The Colts, I think of Jonathan Taylor first. I don't think of their quarterback. Bijan Robinson, I think of him first, not their quarterback. James Cook, all right, I think of Josh Allen first. Derrick Henry, okay, I think of Lamar Jackson first. Right. Saquon Barkley, I think of him first before his quarterback, Jalen Hurts, and that's a guy that's won the Super Bowl MVP.
Right.
Josh Jacobs, Jordan Love, same thing. Kenneth Walker's now in Kansas City, so I do think of
No
Mahomes.
chance.
And Kyron Williams in LA. Yeah, I think of Stafford before him. De'Von Achane, you could argue, he's not going to win the MVP this year. He's not going to win Offensive Player of the Year this year. But I don't know in the NFL if there's a player more valuable to his team than De'Von Achane. Because if the Dolphins didn't have De'Von Achane, they may be the number one team in the draft anyway. We would be talking about the Dolphins maybe not even getting a win or two this season if they didn't have Achane.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. I would say, and I've said this for the last few years, the teams complaining about not having a running back and saying they don't need one are the teams that don't have one. The teams that have a running back will all say it starts up front with the running game.
Yeah, I don't think you need a bell cow back, but I think that we've seen a lot of running back by committee, but you need production on the ground. If you can't run the football in this league, you can't win. Like the Patriots, they had so many different – they had Corey Dillon, who was phenomenal, but then they've had Antoine Smith, Kevin Falk, Stephen Ridley, Shane Vereen, James White. They still had production on the ground, though.
But also the thing that I would say about what New England did was they may not have had the running back that we would consider a bell cow or anything like that, but they threw all those little short passes were extensions of the run.
Yeah, the dink and dunks.
So the offense was predicated on that, and then at the end of the game, they tried to run the ball and do little quick stuff. They wanted the ball out of Tom Brady's hands, and they were able to do that, and then the play action killed you. I mean, when they had Randy Moss, they didn't give a damn about that run game.
Yeah.
And in fact, that was one of the only years they didn't win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they almost went undefeated, but that didn't happen. But,
right?
Yeah, no, they definitely used the run, and there'd be times you watch McDaniels, it's like, wow, they're running it on first and second, and then it would be 3rd down and 5, and boom, they would hit Brady to Gronk over the middle for 15, or Brady to Edelman over the middle for 15.
Exactly.
You need to win the battle in the trenches in this sport, and you need to run the football. Like those are things that will always be a part of this game.
You look at Kansas City, right? There was only so many times they could do that running back by committee. They went and got a guy, right? So all the better teams in the league have one thing in common. Forget the quarterback. They all run the football.
Headlines are brought to you by Doral Kia in Miami at a Domino's game. You always find your abuelito, and whenever you want a low price, you save with your Pricito. Save now with your Pricito at Doral Kia. The Marlins 3-game winning streak did come to an end last night. They lost to the Mets 4-2 in Queens. You can listen to the game tonight on QAM. It's Jansen Junk going up against Freddie Peralta as the Fish look to bounce back into the win column. Chop Robinson has been shining to start training camp. The offense, not so much. There's been a lot of pre-snap penalties. Chris Perkins going to join us on the other side to give us a little Dolphins training camp update. The weather report is brought to you by Tornado Roofing and Contracting. Protect your home before the next storm. Get your free roof and window estimate. Call 954-968-8155. I'm not a great weatherman, but earlier it looked like it's going to rain in Miami. Not so much as the day has continued.
It's over here now.
Oh,
it's by me.
Now it's starting. Well, you're always a ball of sunshine, so the rain had to find you to try to rain on your parade. In Miami, 25% chance of rain at 7 p.m., high of 93, low of 79. A heat advisory is in effect today, and that will last until about 6 p.m. on the final day of July. And also one last headline, if you're just tuning in, Tony Romo taking a leave of absence from CBS. J.J. Watt is going to be elevated to that first broadcast booth. We will see if Tony Romo, with $72 million remaining on that contract, ever does come back to the CBS family.
He's taking a leave of absence. He was forced.
Absolutely.
It wasn't free.
Yeah. Well, I'm just going by the way that they elected to word it on their little fancy press release. He's taking a leave of absence. Yeah. This is, we're trying to figure out how not to pay you $72 million because you were as drunk could be in that whole situation with the OWI. All righty. We will take a break here on Tobin and Leroy. Chris Perkins will join us on the other side. We'll get a little update from Dolphins training camp. All righty, welcome back in. It is Tobin and Leroy. Zach Gelb in for Tobin on this Friday. We got 40 more minutes to play. We'll wrap up the show coming up later with our Dead to Me segment. But first, let's go out to the hotline and bring in Chris Perkins from the Sun Sentinel to talk a little Dolphins training camp. And Chris Perkins right now is joining us on the hotline, and it's brought to you by the Toyota of Hollywood. Shop over 2,000 Toyotas on sale at one location. Toyota of Hollywood on 441 between Hollywood and Sheridan. ToyotaofHollywood.com. Chris, appreciate it. How are you?
Oh, life is good, man. I get to talk to Zach. I talk to Leroy. Fans come out to practice Sunday. Pads come on Monday. What could be better, man? I'm fired up. I'm ready.
Wow, you're so optimistic. So it makes me think that maybe you like what you're seeing right now with the Dolphins. Kind of give us a vibe check on Jeff Hafley the first few days of his first training camp as a head coach.
It's been different. It's been different than what we've seen out here in the previous few years. You know, I wrote yesterday about how the 11 on 11 is the big thing out here, that they're not doing 1-on-1. They're not doing 7 on 7. They're doing 11 on 11 because Jeff Hafley feels that's real football, because Jeff Hafley doesn't want to do football drills without involving the offensive and defensive linemen. You know, he wants to be strong in the trenches. And so he doesn't see the point of practicing without the offensive and defensive linemen. Today, we notice that they're going a lot of down and distance. They're not just running 3 or 4 straight plays. It's 1st and 10, 2nd and 3, 3rd and 8. It's situation. It's different personnel groupings. He's coaching the players as they come off the field. So you notice different things like that. And I'll say this, I like what I see out there. I still think that this is probably between a 4 and 6 win team, which I think is okay, because I think the points of this season are making sure Sully is the right guy, make sure Half is the right guy, make sure Malik Willis is the right guy, and make sure your players have the right attitude.
Perk, it's pretty amazing that we're having, you know, these conversations about a head coach, because I got to tell you, like, we go out there and I hate the term, oh, the defense dominated today or the offense did this time of year, because you're not game planning. And I think I hated 7 on 7 too, because it wasn't an accurate assessment of what the quarterback had to go through, what the wide receivers had to go through. When you're talking about a situation that's all timing, right? Nothing screws time, not like not having a pass rush. And so
right. Go
ahead.
I'm sorry, Leroy. Go ahead. That's what Hafley was saying yesterday, that he said is you're basically back there counting 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. There's no clock in the quarterback's head, and the cornerback it's like, you know, if you defend this dude for 4 seconds, the play should be over, but the play is going for 5 and 6 seconds. So he said it's not real football. He agrees with you, Leroy.
So I have a story. So we had Jeff George in Minnesota as a backup, and Randall Cunningham got hurt, so Jeff George had to start. So he was running all the plays during the week. We were in 7 on 7, and he dropped back, pat the ball, and then threw it away. And then he said, Jeff, it's a 3-step drop. He said, them people ain't come here to see no dink and dunk. They came here to see the bomb. And that was so even though it was a 3-step drop, he pat the ball because he wanted to throw it deep. But that's what 7 on 7 does.
It does. And you know what's funny, Leroy? So I want to ask Hafley in a respectful way on Sunday that, look, Coach, you know how social media is in this league. You know how it is once the fans come out. They want to see some 1-on-1 and 7 on 7. So will you acquiesce? Will you bend to the crowd a little bit, or are you going to stay hard? Are you going to be 11 on 11? I wonder where that kind of compromise is, if there's any compromise. That'll be kind of fun to see if he plays to the crowd at all.
Chris Perkins here with us. So I know we're only a few days in. One day I read Malik Willis is looking really good. The next day I read, Malik Willis looks horrible. You being there, what's the truth? With considering what it is, what is Malik Willis looking like so far?
He hasn't looked horrible. He hasn't looked like a Pro Bowl player on any day, but he hasn't looked like a scrub on any day. I would say he's probably got through 3 days, I would probably give him a letter grade of about a C+. In OTAs and minicamp, I probably would have given him a letter grade of B+. Now, right now, you do have nothing but 11 on 11. So, yeah, his reads are different. And in OTAs and minicamp, all they could do was one-on-ones and 7-on-7s by rule. But now you can do 11 on 11, and that does change the dynamic. It does bring out the fact that you've got a pass rush and a suspect offensive line. Of course, the edge rushers are suspect also, but you've got suspect receivers. Look, De'Von Achane and Greg Dulcich, the running back and tight end might be your two leading receivers. A wide receiver might be number 3 in receptions. And so I think that's the kind of stuff, Zach, that you see, and it kind of affects Malik Willis. We saw Malik run for the first time today. He faked a handoff to Achane and scored maybe a 7 or 10 yard touchdown on a keeper. But Jeff Hafley has also told us that he wants Malik to stay in the pocket for the early stages of training camp and become a pocket passer, build a relationship with these receivers, figure out what the offensive line can do and the pass protection can do. So part of this is they're kind of holding his game back by design, but part of it is you don't know what you have with these receivers. And Malik is a first-year starter as a quarterback, and you do have a suspect offensive line. So when I say, that Malik has not looked like a Pro Bowl quarterback, it's not all on him. There haven't been a whole lot of bad throws, a whole lot of bad reads. Malik has been he's been solid, but in some cases, his surroundings have let him down and the circumstances have conspired against him. But Malik has been good. He's been about what I've expected. It'll be a different animal once the pads come on and once he gets the freedom to use his legs, which is a big part of his game.
So, Perk, I want to ask you this. There's two guys who I have gone to bat for, and I'm going to tell you why. One is Kenneth Grant, and one of the reasons is that
you went to Michigan.
Yeah. but let me tell you, let me explain why. All right. Is because when he was in college, he could just use his athleticism and explode through a gap and make plays and chase things down and do stuff that way. When you get into the league, it's a lot about using your hands and how you use your hands. He wasn't ready for that. So when he played, he stood up and put his arms out and got dump trucked a lot. How's he look as far as, I know they're talking about these D linemen using their hands and the guys using their hands up front. How does he look? Or does he look like he's gotten better as the season went on last year? But how does he look coming back into that?
You know what? He looked really good in individual drills and OTAs and minicamp. I'll say this also for him before I continue, Leroy. As you know, defensive tackle, that's a tough position in the NFL, and it usually does take more than a season for guys to develop. Right. Having said that, Kenneth Grant is probably the second or third best D tackle that they drafted in 2025. Jordan Phillips is the best. Zeke Biggers, the 7th round pick, might be about the same as Kenneth Grant, might be a little worse. Yeah. I mean, look, KG, the thing with KG, Leroy, I don't know what he does well. And I've always said for a lot of players, show me one thing that you do well. Right. Do you stop the run? Do you rush the passer? And then we can build around that. We can come up with a package and a situation that we can put you in to play to your strength. We can cover up your weakness. I haven't seen that for KG yet. Having said that, I do think that he's a better player than he was last year. He did come on late in the season. I do see signs of growth. I don't know if he's going to be a starter in this 3-4 defense, but he should get some. He'll definitely be a regular rotational player, but I don't. He needs to be impactful as a run stopper, and I don't see that yet. But I'm kind of with you, Leroy. I'll give him some time to grow. But the thing is, you're a first-round pick. And this is a team that really wants to be strong in the trenches. So the clock is speeded up on you. You got a 5th rounder and a 7th rounder that are playing as well or better. Expectations are high for you. So, if KG was a 3rd or 4th round pick,
No big.
Right. Yeah, we could be a little more kind in our assessment, a little more harsh. But he's okay. But because he's a first round pick, he needs to be better.
Seems like he misses Mason Graham. Who was the second player, Leroy? Yeah. You said you went to bat for two players.
The other player was, and one of the things I said about KG was he was doing a lot of holding, reading, and reacting, which is not his strong point. He's a gap guy.
Right.
Shoot the gap, be athletic or whatever. And so I don't know how much of that he's still doing, but that takes a long time if you've never done it, like it's hard to just all of a sudden get acclimated to when you've just been explosive your whole career. The other player is Saban. I know a lot of people have talked about him being on the left side, and I have seen firsthand that when you play on the right side and you get moved to the left, it is probably the hardest thing you'll ever do in your career. And they put him over there thinking that he was going to be able to do it, and he struggled at it. Does he look more comfortable on his natural side?
It's tough to say. I thought Jonah had a decent camp last year, and then the regular season started, and actually they're in joint practices game, and I think he might have been brother-in-law here during training camp, Leroy.
With Detroit,
you know what I'm saying, right? Yeah, right. That where teammates aren't going to show him up too much, and the Lions and the Bears were like, "Oh, screw that! I owe this man nothing." I think Jonah might have lost his confidence during joint practices, so. I think he looks better. He looks more comfortable. It might be because it's his second year. It might be because he's on the correct side of the ball, the side that he played in college. Might be because it's a new coaching staff and a new start. He looks more confident. We'll see pads come on Monday. I'm more optimistic about Kenneth Brandt's development than Jonas Savaiinaya's development at this point.
I would go the other way. Because at least Jonah has an idea of what it's like playing next to somebody, and he doesn't have to change a whole lot of technique to be functional. Kenneth Brand has to do something he has never had to do with that holding guys up and reading and reacting and shedding guys. Because when you're in a 3-4, right, it's your job as a nose guard to absorb as many people as possible. And the only thing you can't do is get dump trucked. Last year, early in the year, dump trucked.
Yeah. Well, they're going to play a lot more 4-3 this year. They're going to switch it up, but they're going to try and be a base 4-3. I think the big thing for KG is to find a package that maybe you're a first and second down guy, whatever. Find that strength, and then for Jonah. You've got to find a way to be a factor. And he was the worst rated starting guard last year by Pro Football Focus, if you believe in such rankings. But I think with Jonah, it's probably mostly a confidence thing. I think with KG, it's probably skill set, like you're saying. And I agree with you, Zach. I think Mason Graham did a lot of that heavy lifting for him at Michigan. And now he's on his own. But I don't see Pro Bowls in the future for either KG or Jonah, but that's fine. Just be a solid, reliable pro. That's the battle for both of them at this point.
Chris Perkins here with us. So for this team this year, I agree with you. Obviously, no one's going to sit here and say they're going to win a ton of games, but to have some belief in John Eric Sullivan and Coach Hafley, who's more important to see success to instill belief in this regime? Is it Malik Willis at quarterback, or is it the first round pick that they had in Caden Proctor up front on the line?
It's Malik Willis. It is because
we both said Proctor, by the way.
We both said Proctor
because Malik. I don't think a lot of people believe in him for Proctor. That's the first round pick that you made.
It is. Malik is the guy that that you committed to as a franchise. That this is the guy that we think is, after seeing him for 2 years in Green Bay, this is the guy that we think can move us forward. Proctor, you picked him over Caleb Downs and Reuben Bain, but that's okay. What I've said about Proctor is I think the floor for him is Juwan James, who was a 2015 first-round pick by the Dolphins, right tackle. You guys might remember him. He was okay. He had some injury issues, went on to Denver. So I think that's the floor. I don't think Proctor is going to be a bust at all. I think he's going to be a solid starter at worst. I think the ceiling for him is Laramie Tunsil, that, potentially some Pro Bowl appearances. But with Malik, there's just so much riding on that as far as that's your quarterback. That was the guy that you had for 2 years. And this is the guy that instead of getting a placeholder like a Quinn Ewers this year and getting one of those quarterbacks in 2027 in the first round, you said, no, this is our guy. So it's on-field performance. It's development from Hafley. It's being able to pick out the right guy from Sully, which is the same case with Proctor. But I just think there's just so much more on Malik because they knew him for 2 years. It's on-field and off-field to me.
So, Perk, this is why we thought so, or I thought so. If Malik doesn't work out, it's not a make or break you. But if your first pick of your regime is not any good, then we got problems. And so it's more important that Proctor work out than Malik because you're giving him guaranteed money with a starting quarterback makes in 1 year. And you can take that hit. If you have a first-round bust as your first pick, we got questions.
See, I respect that and I hear you, but I look at it the total opposite direction. I'm like, if he's a first round bust, he's an offensive lineman, and you put that down with the other offensive linemen that have been bust for the franchise.
Yeah.
But with Malik, if he's a bust after you scouted him for 2 years, how am I going to trust you to get a first round quarterback in 27?
I see that. You've been with him.
Ability. Right. Yeah, right. You were with this dude for 2 years and you missed. How can I trust you to get a guy in 2027? So that's what it gets to for me with Malik.
Perk, can I tell you a little secret? In all the years I played football, I've never looked at scout team quarterback and say he's gonna be a baller.
Yes, that's the other thing.
Have you ever paid attention to the guy running the scout team?
Patriots did with Brady.
I mean,
that's the best one. That's the only one.
With Jimmy G and with Jimmy G, I guess they did too, huh?
Yeah.
But it's just that Malik he's 4 years in the league, 2 years in Tennessee, 2 years in Green Bay. And I know Drew Brees was a late riser, but there aren't many Drew Breeses out there. If by the fourth year, you haven't done anything, I'm a little hesitant. I was not a fan of the Malik Willis. I like Malik, but I thought, get Kirk Cousins or a placeholder. Maybe they should have traded Tua for Kirk Cousins with Atlanta, right? Because Tua's
You'd rather have Kirk Cousins?
As a 1 year placeholder, and instead of like Quinn Ewers, if Malik wasn't here, and then you get your quarterback in 2027. Now, I know Kirk Cousins would have blown out the whole cost structure, right? Kirk isn't coming for a veteran's minimum.
He would also need a lot of ice packs behind this team. He can't move.
That's right. You're right. But I wasn't for the commitment to Malik Willis. We'll see. I'm not mad at him. I'm not going to root against Malik. I'm not going to trash talk Malik. I hope he does well. I hope he surprises me. But yeah, I have to see it to believe it with Malik. He's got a good skill set, but a first-year starter in your fifth year, I'm with Leroy. I've got to see it. A scout team quarterback for 4 years, and now you're the starter. I'm not sure that it's going to be there. But let's see.
I guess the one good thing these days, 45 million. It's not that big deal for 1 year for a quarterback. Yeah. Chris Perkins, Sun Sentinel, is brought to you by Toyota of Hollywood on our guest line. Shop over 2,000 Toyotas on sale at one location, Toyota of Hollywood on 441 between Hollywood and Sheridan, toyotaofhollywood.com. Perk, appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Perk.
All right, guys. We'll talk later. All right.
We'll take a break. We'll get to a little Dead to Me segment next. Final segment on a Friday. It is Tobin and Leroy right here on 104.3 FM, WQAM. Welcome back in. It is Tobin and Leroy, final segment on a Friday. Zach Gelb in for Tobin. Yeah,
I was thinking the same thing, but here's what I would say. They're closer to playing 4 linebackers than they are 4 D linemen, right?
Gotcha. And for people that don't know, we were talking about Perk's comment off the air, how he said that Grant's the 3rd best defensive tackle on this team and probably won't start. And I found that interesting.
No, they've been saying that. But like last year, Biggers and Phillips kind of got acclimated and going a little bit quicker. But a lot of it has to do with, I was fortunate in my career that I played the same football my whole life. From high school to college to NFL, they just said, do you, right? Everybody doesn't have that luxury. Some people have to acclimate to what is asked of them. And I think one of the things on the D-line is playing what is gap versus what is react and read. And that means you just hold up the guy and the linebacker makes all the plays, right? You're holding up a guy. In fact, a play they never call is defensive holding, where you try to go off and the nose tackle grabs the center, right? Read and react. And so if you're not good at that, it's not an easy thing to all of a sudden get good at. And so there's that. And it could be something as simple as, you know what? They did it before. So I'm going to wait and see. I think the one thing that I'm probably big on that a lot of people aren't, they don't think it's a big deal for a lineman to move on the opposite side of the ball.
Okay.
And I'm telling them it's like batting right-handed your whole life, and then you get to the league and they tell you got to bat left-handed.
Yeah, it's an adjustment.
It's everything. It's everything different. And from how you stand to how you look to where you're looking from, right? Everything's different. And I know I make a bigger deal about that than a lot of people do, including Perk. Like Savai'Naya plays on the right side. They moved him to the left thinking he could do it. They probably had that false sense of security going through camp. And then when they went to Detroit, they got abused. All of them, the whole offensive line. So.
All righty, let's do a little dead to me to end the show. The Dolphins are at training camp. The Canes start next week. Marlins in action. Heat and Panthers offseason news too. We've got it all. You could also listen to WQAM on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, and TuneIn apps. Download it today and make Tobin and Leroy your favorite show. All righty, let's quickly do dead to me. I think we could squeeze it in. Give me something that you guys are furious about.
I tell you what's dead to me, and I'm happy. 7-on-7. It sucked. It's like for reporters to be out there saying, ooh, so-and-so threw 3 picks in 7-on-7. That's not football. So I love the fact that 7-on-7 is gone. One-on-ones are gone. As a running back, I hated one-on-one pass rush. It sucked. They don't have to read. They can just dump truck you. I weighed 220. They weighed 250. Who do you think is going to win that collision every time? I'm happy.
JFig, what do you got?
I actually didn't really get that bothered and pissed off this week. So besides Miami drivers who love beeping for no reason whatsoever, I don't really have a dead to me.
Wow. Miami drivers
Good, right?
in New York. Yeah, please. That we call that a second in the day. All you hear around the city is it's annoying. Brittany, you got one?
I sure do. So last night I went to go see Spider-Man on opening night in the theaters. And what's dead to me is people who have zero movie theater etiquette. The movie had just started and this woman walks in with her flashlight on. I wish I was joking, with her flashlight, full brightness.
To see
and
her
is talking on the phone. Talking on the phone.
That's
at full volume. She's like, hey, like, where are the kids at? And I'm like,
there's a movie going on. Shut the bleep up.
Like, this movie that we've been waiting for years is on, woman. Like, please shut up.
It was during the movie?
The movie had just started. And then her kids end up coming and her husband. And those children were so obnoxious the entire movie. They would not shut up. And I was like in a theater with the reclining seats. I don't know if you guys have ever been to any of those. So the kids kept pushing the button and it makes noise. Like it's not quiet. And of course they were right behind me. So I'm there like crying and trying to enjoy the movie. And the kid's like, Mom, do you see the PS5 in the background? Mom. And like all you hear is a from the
Shut up!
You know what you need to do? You know what you need to do, Britt? You hide behind your popcorn and you go, can someone shut those kids up? And they have no clue where it's coming from.
I know, but I was scared. I was
right
like, I'm gonna start a fight in the middle of this movie.
You need Leroy at your movie.
I do. I need someone who has.
I don't have a problem. Inconsiderate people get inconsiderate responses.
I was just like, it's 11 o'clock at night. Your children should be sleeping. Why are they in the movie theater right now?
Because they're all hopped up on candy.
Or when you're in a plane
that's
and they're just
people-
kicking your chair.
Oh no.
Nah, I was one of those kids. I had some lady once tell me that she was going to kick my crib later that night because I kicked her chair so much.
Oh, my gosh.
I was 4. Like, what could you do?
Yeah, like,
why? You were probably already, 5'10"?
Telling you no.
I agree. I had the same situation where I was on a flight on Monday and the kid kept like putting the tray table up and down and I felt it the entire flight.
Oh, that's the worst.
And I turn around and the dad's just like, I'm like, are you serious, sir? Like, take care of your children.
I will say this, Brittany.
The child was being watched by the parent, and the parent did absolutely nothing.
Brittany, you know what I've learned? Like, I was the complainer. Then I had kids.
You?
And
complainer?
then I realized that, damn, my kids acting like them kids. Right? you like.
No, but at least like listen, if you have an unruly child, I can understand that it's hard to rein them in. Like I have nieces and nephews. I get it. That being said, like at least make an effort. I would appreciate you for like to make an effort to shush your kids up.
Yeah. No.
But clearly you're teaching them nothing if you walk in with your camera phone, your camera light full blast and talking on the phone in the middle of a movie.
All right, real quickly, my dead to me because I know we got to run. This is sort of my fault, but I was just amazed by it. I had to go get my shoes cleaned for a wedding that I'm going to this weekend. I got caught in the rain a few weeks ago, and I just had to go get them cleaned. $50 to get a shoe cleaning. $50 within a day. Like, that's crazy. I should have just got new shoes.
How dirty were your shoes?
Why didn't you clean your own shoes?
There was a little grass stain.
Why did you clean your own shoes?
Because I'm a big star, Leroy. I don't need to clean my own shoes.
Then don't complain about the $50.
$50? Come on.
You could have bought shoes for cheap.
You could have bought new shoes.
They don't sell size 15 shoes for $50 anyway.
But I'm telling you, you just go to Walmart or something, get shoe cleaning stuff, dust it off in 3 minutes, you're done.
Yeah, I could have, but I didn't. Anyway, it should have cost $50. Should have been $20.
You can't complain.
Fine, I have another one. People that ask to tip on everything now. Like, give me a break. You go and get a burrito at Chipotle. Oh, can I get a tip? What did you do?
Hey, my favorite is when you go to the bathroom at the club and that guy tries to put you under contract by throwing the towel at you.
And the cologne spray.
I move out the way. We are not under contract, sir.
All righty, that will do it for Tobin and Leroy. Zach Gelb for Tobin today. JFig, Brittany, great job as always. Perk, appreciate you too. Leroy, you have a great weekend.
You too,
Hockman,
brother.
Crowder, and Solana coming up next. We out. Bye-bye. Peace.
When's your birthday? When's your birthday?
That was her way of subliminally.
You go, boy.
Nope.
What do we use X for? Right.
X-ray.
Zebra. Oh wait, that's X. Z.
We both.
Goodbye, loser.
Game 2 of the Marlins weekend